What's going on, everybody? Welcome in to the Blazers Uprise post-game show. Oh my goodness, what a victory for the Portland Trail Blazers today. This was, in my opinion, the funnest game of the season. They come back from down 20 after Chicago plays a tremendous first half of basketball. The Blazers had their best defensive quarter of the season in the third, forcing 10 turnovers from the Chicago Bulls and scoring 18 points off those turnovers. That stat that they showed on the broadcast was before the third quarter was done. So I don't know if they got stuff beyond that, but oh my goodness, it was a tremendous third quarter defensively for the Blazers. You have a Larry Nance Jr. with some big moments. Dame hits some shots late, gets going a little bit, and finally gets a foul call on the drive. This was a phenomenal game, very well played by both sides. I am impressed with Chicago and how they came out tonight and how they looked, especially on the defensive end. And I'm very impressed with the Blazers and how they were able to stay bought into this game despite seemingly everything going the Bulls' way in the first half. The Blazers scrapped this one out. They came back with defense, and we're going to have a lot of fun talking about this one, Eric. This was the most enjoyable game of the season for me, and the Blazers pull things out. So, what's up, man? How you feeling about this game? I assume you're feeling pretty hyped.
Dude, I am super hyped. This second half felt like a playoff game almost. But at the end of the third quarter, I was like, oh man, we still have a whole other quarter left because the last few minutes of the third quarter were pretty intense. And nice haircut, by the way, looking fresh.
Yeah, thank you to everybody in chat saying, complimenting the haircut. Appreciate it. I needed one a while ago. I finally went and did it.
Chris S., member for 10 months. Nurse is the new Nork. It's actually Lurk. I think it should be Lurk.
Lurk?
Yeah.
Oh, that's Larry. Oh, I thought you were. I just realized what you were doing. Okay. Yeah.
It's definitely Lurk, I think.
Lurk. Okay. I thought you were dissing. I saw you post that in the Twitter GC, man, and I thought you were dissing on Nurk. So I said work because Nurk put in that work today.
No, I didn't put Lurk in there.
Yeah, I was thinking it differently. I misinterpreted it.
But yeah, or it could be Lark, I guess.
Lurk.
But I like Lurk.
Lurk. I mean, the Blazers' defense was lurking that second half, man. Shout out to whoever posted that. I just lost it and forgot. Shout out to Chris S. Chris Stevens.
Emerson with the 15-month comment says, let's go, Rip City, let's do it.
That was hype, man. That was such a hype game. I'm still kind of collecting my thoughts right now on everything that went on during that game. That was a playoff atmosphere. And I'll just be honest, during the course of this game, it was sort of a situation where it's like, man, every 50-50 thing went Chicago's way. I thought the refs were kind of screwing the Blazers, and the Dame and CJ can't buy a bucket the first half. And Chicago played good, and I thought we were getting decent shots, missing some of them. CJ didn't force the first half. He only took 4 shots. He wasn't really taking over the offense with his iso ball, even though he didn't have it going. He kind of decided to try and take a little bit of a back seat. So over the course of the game, it was like, this is an acceptable loss, because I thought the Blazers came out with energy. Chicago hit a number of contested shots. DeMar DeRozan, you can't block his mid-range shot, and I thought the Blazers were doing a good job contesting it in the first half. He was just stuck on automatic. Same with Zach Lavine. He has a deep triple, and he has an efficient night. He was sniping contested jumpers pretty much all game long, and then the one open 3 he got, Eric, he missed with the game on the line to tie it. So it was sort of a situation.
Breakdown there.
Yeah, I mean, that was a moving screen. We got to switch that. But overall, it was basically Nasir Little got pass blocked. That was like a left guard in football pass blocking on Nasir Little there, and refs just need to call that. But that sort of situation, they don't. Overall, I was just thinking, at some point in the third quarter, I had a feeling we were going to make a run because we were playing with energy, and Chicago couldn't make the types of shots they were making all game long. Their shot making in the first half was absurdly good. Absurd. And then Dame and CJ are out here missing open shots, and I just thought, okay, we maintain the energy, we start playing some defense, maybe tweak something up to a more aggressive defensive scheme at halftime, which we did, and I felt like the Blazers were going to make a run. I didn't want to jinx it and say it on Twitter, so I didn't say it, but the first time all year the Blazers were down double digits, and I felt like they were going to get back in this game. And they end up doing so. It's just, I don't know, like Chicago played a great first half. Portland played a great third quarter. At the end of this game, it was like, you know what, if two teams are playing like really good basketball defensively, in my opinion, and then, you know, they're hitting shots and we hit some shots to get back in it, I'm okay losing that type of game. I would have been, if we lost this game, I would have been sitting here like, you know what, man, Chicago played great. We played with energy. This was a really good basketball game, which is different than some of my other post-game stuff recently with the Blazers on the road. But to get this win in the fashion that they did can be such a momentum boost for this team. The energy they played with in the third quarter was what we've been asking for, man. When this team is that engaged and locked in, especially with Larry Nance Jr. at center, I mean, they're a phenomenal basketball team, in my opinion. And it's funny how when their defense starts playing like that and forcing some turnovers, the offense gets going. It just swings the momentum. And you have Norm hitting a clutch, or it wasn't clutch, it was third quarter, but you have Norm hitting a three in transition with, I think it was, I forget who was in his face, but that was a big shot coming off of a breakout after we played good defense. There was a number of times during that third quarter we'd lock them up, get a steal, and then we get out in transition. And that's how you come back in games. You know, you want to score quickly and you want to get stops. So the best thing to do is to force turnovers because it's a stop and then you have run out opportunities. And that's how the Blazers were able to fight back in this game in a blink of an eye.
Yeah, and I felt like the first half, a lot of it was they had 14 transition points, I think, at halftime. They had I want to say 8 or 10 second chance points. So you're getting killed off putbacks on offensive rebounds, and you're getting killed. And it was guys like Caruso getting a lot of those, which can't happen. Just missing box out, not paying attention to your guy, crashing the board, stuff like that. And then, yeah, transition almost ended up doing us in at the end when we go up 6 and then we give up 2 straight fast break Lonzo lay-ins, and then they hit a 3 after that to go up 1. So the points where our transition D were not good in this game were the only points really that we almost blew it. And
why are you focusing on the negatives?
No,
though?
I'm saying like that's something that's cleanable, that like you can fix that.
Okay,
so like the first half, even though they were on fire, like you can live with that, like you said. But if you just clean up things you can control, like boxing out and getting back on defense, then they might not even have that good of a first half either. And then we're not talking about having to come back from 20. We're just like, we're maybe blowing them out in the second half if we play that way. So you just got to make sure you bring that defense on all possessions. You can't fall asleep. You know, I posted a video of CJ just absolutely falling asleep and his guy getting a wide open lay-in because of it. And a couple of off-ball just confusion when there shouldn't have been confusion off-ball. And yeah, just clean those things up. And I mean, we only gave up 44 points in the second half, which is really good to this Bulls team. And I just feel like there's still a lot of improvement we can make, even with as good of a game we've played.
Yeah, I mean, we're never gonna have a perfect game defensively, right. And it seemed like, honestly, every time we did miss a box out, the ball went right to the guy we missed in the first half. It's like Caruso was just right magically exactly where the miss goes. You know, I don't know how many offensive rebounds he had in the first half. Let me pull up the box score here, but I know he had probably at least 4. Let me check here.
While you're pulling that up, Daniel G with the $2 dono says, will they show the game again? Usually they will show the game, like repeat it a couple times throughout the night and tomorrow, but I'm not sure exactly what time they are.
Yeah, Alex Caruso had 4 offensive rebounds. He almost had a triple-double. He had 12 points, 10 rebounds, 9 assists. 4 offensive rebounds. You know, and that's the thing, is there's a couple, like, loose balls that they somehow kind of bobbled into the rim. You have that Tony Bradley lob where he doesn't even catch it and somehow makes it. And that's yeah. where I'm sitting there, like, they're hitting these contested shots, and then anytime there's a loose ball, it's, like, going their way. that's tough, man. You know, it's with how sleepy this team has come out in some games. I was happy with their energy the first half, and the ball movement I thought was solid, and the defense I thought was solid on a number of possessions in which they scored. So I'm just sitting there like, yeah, there's things to clean up, but overall, I mean, Chicago impressed me, and I was down on them heading into this year because I didn't think they'd be able to defend like this. Chicago's impressive. Chicago's a contender in the East, in my opinion, especially once they get Vucevic back. Hopefully they get Patrick, what was his last name? Williams?
Yeah.
Okay,
I think he might be out for the year.
I mean, he might be out for the year, but, you know, they've bitten the injury bug, but they came out and played extremely hard today. Extremely hard, and that's why it makes this win for the Blazers that much more impressive, is because I thought this was arguably the best defense the Blazers had seen all season. I thought they did a terrific job defensively for the most part, and when you have a team that's really good defending in the half court like Chicago was this game, that's another reason why you got to try and ratchet up the pressure defensively so you can get run out, so you're not just attacking, you know, Lonzo Ball and Alex Caruso in the half court. So overall, the Blazers transitioned into playing an aggressive defense in fast break style, and that's the only way they were going to come back and win this game, in my opinion. That's why I'm so happy with this win, is because they made the adjustments they needed to in terms of what they were trying to do defensively, in terms of the scheme. They started playing up at the screen more, started hedging. Nurkic did a great job hedging, and so did Larry Nance Jr. Larry Nance Jr. had 3 steals in this game, a block as well. Robert Covington had 3 steals. So overall, I just was very happy with the energy, and especially the way they were able to play, because it was the only way they were getting back in this thing.
Well, that's why we cut it to 4 a few times, and then it was like 81-85, and I forgot what happened, but there was like a no call on our end, and then they scored a couple times and got it back up to 8. And it's
the second time was on that inbounds pass, whatever happened there.
Jeez.
I looked away, so I didn't see exactly what happened. They're just inbounding the ball, and then I look up and they're scoring.
The camera was right behind the basket. It actually caught it that time. So Nance inbounds to Simons, and he fumbled it, and it goes and bounces, and somehow goes between his legs right to the guy guarding him, and he just lays it in. I think it was Io on that one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. When you have momentum, that is such a backbreaker. That's also what makes this more impressive, because like that sort of play to get them back up 8 just kills a run. They score 4 points in like 3 seconds.
Yeah, and then there was that flagrant foul on Nance too that could have given him a 4-point play. Luckily, DeRozan missed a jumper on that possession. But
yeah, and that's another possession. That's the thing. That's why that's another reason why I'm impressed. Is there's a number of plays in which we could have lost all momentum, where it could have killed our run, killed our comeback, and we could have folded. And instead, we bounced back every single time.
Well, playing an energy team like the Bulls, too, to expend that much energy, having to come back from 20 down and still having enough in the tank to get it done late in the fourth quarter in the clutch, was a very impressive win. And there was a number of players on defense, at least, and then specifically Nance and Nurk, I thought, had tremendous games, and they pretty much locked down the defense for us in that second half, and just a great win.
Yep. Let me thank the donos. Shout out David Yu for a $5 Australian dono. He says, at halftime, I felt like we were playing hard against hot shooting Chicago, so I put $10 on this game. Best $60 I've ever made. Here's 5 back. Appreciate it, David Yu. I can't easily bet in Washington State, but I had a feeling the Blazers were going to come back in this game, and if you gave me those odds, I probably would have put down $10 too. That's a smart betting man right there, David. Nice. Good job. Appreciate getting a $5 kickback from that. Shout out Andrew Miller. What's up, Andrew? $5 dono. He says, Larry is a W. That man was on a mission tonight. Great game, and we're going to have to talk about him because I love Larry Nance Jr.
Mm-hmm.
I love Larry Nance. I I was begging for Derrick Jones in a first for Larry Nance Jr., and Derrick Jones looked good this game. Defensively was phenomenal, had some good finishes. He fouled a lot, but overall, like, Derrick Jones tonight is like, that's what we brought in Derrick Jones to be for us.
Didn't shoot
right?
a three, I don't think.
Yeah, didn't shoot a three, 7 shots inside the arc. Yeah, that's the Derrick Jones Jr. we all were expecting with the MLE last season, and, like, still, like, Larry Nance Jr. showed that he was worth Derrick Jones Jr. in a first this game. I mean, the dude, Larry Nance Jr. is a phenomenal basketball player. And it's funny because when he was only playing 16, 17 minutes a game and obviously not comfortable, not knowing where his shots were going to come in the offense, I have a couple of people say, see, he just sucks. He just played on a bad team like Cleveland. That's why he looked good. But I've always said that the better players you put around Larry Nance Jr., the better he will look. He's one of those guys that's a glue guy. There's certain players who will put up good stats on a bad team because they're allowed a bunch of offensive freedom, and then when they get to a good team, they're not going to be as good of a player or appear as good of a player. But Larry Nance Jr. isn't that guy. He's a guy that fits in perfectly next to a Dame, next to a CJ, next to a Nurkic. Like, he's feasted the last 2 games off of the attention given to Dame and CJ. He's played around the rim, he's gotten some dunks, he's gotten a couple open threes and knocked them down, and then defensively he's exactly what we need, and he has big enough size to, like, he's kind of a small ball 5, but only kind of, you know what I mean? Like, he's pretty good. He's rebounded well, like, 3 steals today, deflections. I mean, this is the Larry Nance Jr. I was excited to get at the start of the season.
And knocked down 2 clutch free throws when we were up 1.
Mm-hmm.
That was nice to see.
And
Nas, too. Yeah, Nas did it right after that. Yeah.
Round of applause for
them. Good job for those two. Because honestly, that's a tough situation for those two.
Yeah, because honestly, it's like end of the game. They're probably winded, a lot of pressure, and it's Nance and Nas. No offense to those guys, but like I don't have anywhere near as much confidence as like if Dame's shooting them. Yeah. I almost said if Dame and CJ, but CJ, I don't know, his free throws are inexplicably bad, right? So I was kind of nervous. Like, okay, Nance. They showed his stat. He was shooting 56% on the season before those 2 free throws. And he knocks down both, and it's just calm and cool and collected. And same with Nas. So those guys to cap off this game with those free throws was very nice.
Yeah, because I don't think Nas came out once he came back in. He might have played like 15 straight minutes or more in that game, in the second half. And Nance probably would have done the same, but I thought one of the key points in this game is when Nurk came back in, had a really good few minutes in the fourth quarter, got Nance some rest too, and then Nance was able to come back when Nurk got his 5th foul and give us some fresher minutes at the end. Who knows if he would have been that fresh had he stayed in the whole fourth quarter. He probably would have been super tired at the end and may not have made some of those plays. So I thought that was a real pivotal moment of the game when we subbed Nurk back in and he provided some really good minutes for us and allowed Larry to rest.
Yeah, and we'll get more into the players once we get to their player cards because there's a lot of good performances today. Shout out Carlton Pagano Jackson with the $5 dono. He says, Chicago is a great team, but we locked in and took it back. Love the grit of Nas, Nance, and Nurk. Has been on a roll. Appreciate it, Carlton. I love your name, dude. That's that's a cool name. Appreciate the $5 dodo, too. Yeah, Nurk, I thought, had a really good game. And I don't want to go into him just yet, Eric. I want to wait for his player card until we start talking about some of the hate that Nurkic was getting this game, which absolutely made no sense to me. We're gonna have to talk about that, but I want to wait until his player card. Shout out Shaggy Squid, $5 Australian dollar dono. He says, once again, bad minute distribution. CJ should not have 37 minutes tonight. Great win despite that though. Let's go. Larry and Nas for MVP. And I don't think CJ played necessarily a bad game. He just missed shots. There's a difference to me. And he had a couple ones that he forced. But overall, outside of that, you posted that defensive clip where that was a horrible defensive breakdown by him. I don't know what in the world he was thinking, Eric. Outside of that, I don't think he was bad defensively tonight. I don't mind... I don't mind how many minutes he played tonight, you know? Because he's one of those guys like Dame. Dame couldn't buy a bucket early, but down the stretch, Dame helped take care of this game. He hit some big time shots, and CJ's one of those guys where you still play him down the stretch because he's how good. There's the there's the good old ESPN ad. I love. There's some random like hype. I mean, the music fits the stream. That was a hyped music. Good old Under Armour commercial. But like CJ, I don't think it was bad, and he's one of those guys that can get hot and make some shots. So I'm cool with him playing 37 minutes tonight. It's not like he played 40 like some other games.
I mean, yeah, I see your point. Also, like, Ant only has 17 in this one, but it's hard to question it when we come from 20 and win. So, yeah, I'm not too mad about the minute distribution. We have 2 days off as well until our next game, so not as concerned about the minutes as you would in a back-to-back situation or if we played on Friday instead of Saturday. So, yeah, not too bad, but I feel like Ant's getting kind of punished with the lineups we're going with right now, and I don't know if that's necessarily fair to him. So maybe just give him a few more minutes and get CJ down to, 30, 33, 34 maybe, but it's hard to nitpick with what happened.
Yeah, I don't want to complain. We'll have other games to complain about. CJ and Dame playing like 50 million minutes in a 20-point loss, so I'm not going to harp on any minutes distribution right now. But appreciate the $5 dono, Shaggy Squid. Shout out to Spencer for becoming a channel member. Appreciate it. Shout out to Colin Jashki. There's no chance I said that right. $5 dono from Colin. Appreciate it. He says, hate to be this guy, but CJ and Rocco for Simmons as a Larry Nance type with the ones. And we're not going to talk trades after a big-time win. I said not until we're 20 games in are we going to talk trades, and 16. Especially after a big-time win. We're at game 60. We're close, guys. We're close. But overall, I mean, Rocco had a couple bad possessions, but I think on average he's been trending upwards, Eric, the last couple of games, because he was bad the first shift against Toronto 2 days ago, but after that he was really good defensively in that game, and tonight he had a couple breakdowns, but he had sitting here with 3 steals, played some good defense when it mattered, and I don't know. I like Nance because he can play really good defensively. He can pass. He has 3 assists tonight. The ball doesn't stick to him, but he can also knock down the threes. So if you leave him open, which teams are leaving him open, he can make you pay. He was 2 for 3 from 3 today. He's a guy that can knock down an open 3. That's why I really like Larry Nance Jr. That's why I was really hyped on this pickup. As far as Ben Simmons goes, I mean, if he could hit an open 3, he'd be a phenomenal player, but he can't hit an open 3. So that's the thing, is you got to get guys that punish teams for loading up on CJ and Dame. But that's a debate for another time. Appreciate the dono, though, Colin.
Yeah, and with Rocco, the last couple of games, I have noticed that he's putting the ball on the floor a little more than normal. And occasionally it's clunky, but it's not as clunky as like when Aminu did it. And I think that's something that they can kind of exploit down the road if he's able to just cut and drive a little more instead of just always either settling for a 3 or not having a shot and then having to pass it because you can't do anything else. I think if he starts driving a little bit, that'll start opening him up to run some other options out of plays if he can do more than just spot it.
Yep, I agree. Let me get to the next. Oh, no, I removed it. There we go. Cool. Get the stats up on the bottom. Shout out to Near 012 with a $5 dono. He says, caught the game late, but that was an amazing win. Heck yeah. And I'm jealous of the people that were at the game tonight, because that seemed like the arena was loud.
We got to see a win on Monday, though.
Yeah, but the arena was loud.
Definitely seemed like the best atmosphere, except for, I heard conflicting reports, but there were some people saying they heard boos when Nurk was announced.
Yeah, and some people said they didn't, so it was probably just certain sections, and it was probably just a few people. But man, why we boo? To anybody that's doing that, why? You try to get in his head before the game? Is that what we're trying to do? I don't understand. I didn't like Stotts the past few years, but I never thought about booing him at a game. Never thought about booing him when his name was announced. I don't get that, but appreciate the $5 donor near zero. Shout out to Mukhtar 20. That's my number too. So this is a real one. $2 dono. He said, "Great win. My girl says hi." So hi to Mukhtar's girl. Appreciate the $2 dono.
Your number's not 2.2.
Eric, you're gonna get banned, I swear. Shout out to Dro with a $4.99 dono. I should have just rounded up. I don't know why I said that. Shout out to Dro with a $5 dono. He says, Larry and Rocco recognize angles. Larry cleanly cut Lavine off. Rocco gets an amazing block and completely covered the lane. Rocco and Nance are smart. And that's the thing is, like, Nance hasn't been playing enough. And I've said it. And now we're seeing why he wasn't playing enough earlier in the season. Now Nance is starting to get more minutes. Nance played 25 minutes tonight. I feel like it should have been even more. The issue is, like, Nurkic played really good tonight, and Nance looks best as a center right now. So Cody Zeller is the odd man out. He only plays 4 minutes tonight. I wouldn't be surprised if Cody Zeller didn't play at all next game. And it's not even necessarily because Cody Zeller is a bad player per se. Nance just looks really good as a center, and it's like, just with Rocco, if he can just play D like he's done his entire career, and you got Nance as well, those are our last 2 forward pickups the last 2 seasons. I mean, our defense with those guys and with Nurkic should be good enough to make us a really good team, in my opinion. The offense will obviously be better. The defense just has to be good enough, and once Rocco figures it out, and with how Nance has been playing and Nurkic has been playing defensively this season, I'm confident. We just got to clean up the little things, and we'll be fine.
So, all 4 years Zach was here when he was healthy, you and I both agreed there's just something about him. He plays better, like, with the starters in a better lineup, where he doesn't have to, like, do a lot, right? And if we would have drafted, like, John Collins instead of Zach Collins, I don't know if John Collins necessarily thrives here, because we needed someone who was just, like, a guy who did all the little things well and knew his role and meshed well with the starters, stuff like that. And Zach would have done terrible, like, on a team getting 20 shots a game too. Not really terrible, but, like, that wouldn't have been ideal for him either.
So, like, San Antonio this year?
Right, exactly. We'll see when he comes back. But, like, so when we picked up Nance, you and I both thought the same way with him too. And you see all these people like, we picked up someone who averages 9 points a game, big whoop, you know? And it's like, well, points per game aren't always the most important. And I think that's what the frustration with both of us was earlier in the season, is he was playing limited minutes, but it was only with the bench too. So he wasn't getting a chance to have that effect with the starters. And now the last couple games, you've seen what he can do playing with like the Dames and the CJs and the Powells and a really good lineup. And he's thriving in those conditions, and he's getting open. He's setting good picks. He's passing the ball and moving it well on offense. The ball never sticks with him. So and then he's making the right reads on defense. I think a guy like that is really important to have, first of all, and second of all, I feel like we should be playing him more with our starting lineup versus the second unit.
Yep, I agree. Shout out to, let me pull this back up here. Shout out to Andrew Miller, another $5 dono. Appreciate it, Andrew. He says, I'm curious why this team can't be consistent with their play. Would you attribute the last 2 wins to coaching adjustments? And this team is just night and day on the road. Road and home. Like, they are a very good team at home. They lost opening night to Sacramento, first game under a new coach. Okay, since then, Eric, they're 7-1 at home.
They're 7-0 at home since.
Well, overall, they're 7-1.
Yeah.
Since then, 7-0. They've won 7 games in a row. They beat Phoenix by 29. They beat Memphis by 20. They beat the Clippers by 19. They beat the Pacers by 4. Lakers by 15. Toronto by 5 2 days ago, and then Chicago tonight by 5, in which it was a game where they were down 20. So you're looking at that slate of 7 teams. All 7 of those teams are solid teams, at least. I think the worst team there is Indiana. They've been playing better lately. I mean, you got the Lakers weren't healthy, so that wasn't necessarily a tough team, but we dominated them. We dominated Phoenix, and they had all their guys. We dominated Memphis. We dominated the Clippers. Toronto, a little closer, and Chicago a little closer, but overall, if we were 8 games into a season, and you just count the games we've played at home, and we were sitting there at 7-1 with those wins, we'd be screaming, oh my goodness, this team is a contender. You know what I mean? So on the road they're horrible. At home they're phenomenal. Like, it's just, if we could figure out how to play on the road as we do at home, like, we're a really, really, really good team.
Flip that, though, because off the top of my head, sure, Philly was missing Embiid and Simmons, so you can count that or not, but they were playing well. They were way above 500. They've kind of come back to 500 now, or a game above or something. So we lost to them. We lost to the Clippers twice on the road. We lost to Charlotte, who's Denver, over 500, Phoenix, Denver, and Cleveland, who's over 500 too. So that's all 7 of our losses on the road, all against above 500 teams. Now, that doesn't excuse it, because we've had both some really crappy effort in those games and some really bad game plans, I thought, especially on this last road trip. I just felt like we did a lot of things that led to our defense being bad, and we kind of did that through our game plans not being aggressive enough. So we come out to these last couple games and beat a couple of really good energy teams with effort and good defensive schemes. And then on top of that, Billups has been money with the rotations lately, the last 2 games, knowing when to sit guys, when to leave lineups in that are playing well, and he's gone with the lineup now last 2 fourth quarters. Now, the adjustment going forward is the same lineup isn't always going to be what's best every game. So don't just put out Nas and Nance and let them play the whole fourth quarter with Damon, CJ, or whatever, because it worked the last 2 games. If it's not working in that game, then you have to adjust and make another run next time. But I felt like the last 2 home games in particular, we just come out in the third quarter and been a completely different team, and it's gotten us back into these games, and then we pull them out at the end.
Yeah, it's just, this team is fun. Like, lose tonight, I still would have had fun watching this game. And games on the road have not been fun.
8-8, we compared them to Phoenix last year, right? We're right where they were, 8-8, and now we have some positive momentum going. So if you win, these next couple games at home, or do well, get out on the road and actually start playing like you do at home, and all of a sudden, you don't have to win like a huge win streak, but win 3 out of 4, or 4 out of 5, or 5 out of 7, or something like that, and all of a sudden you're looking at being 3 games above 500 in a week, when we've been telling you guys all season, if we just hang around 500 in this early stretch, both from growing pains of a new coach and also with how tough our schedule was, that eventually when we get into the there's a stretch at the end where we seriously have like 12 straight games, and they're all against like OKC.
I'll read it off. I have it right
Houston
here.
And
I'll read it off, Eric. Yeah. Detroit, San Antonio, Houston, Oklahoma City, New Orleans, San Antonio, Oklahoma City, New Orleans.
Yeah, I mean, that's crazy. Like, so just
that's right at the end of the season. If
you can like just be somewhat over 500 by then you win a bunch of those games. You win 80% of those games. We're gonna have 50 plus wins, and so yeah, I'm really looking forward to hoping this momentum continues, and if we can get these nice little stretch of this hard beginning of the season, if we can just somehow find a way to win, like I said, 3 out of 4 or whatever the next few games, man, we're gonna be in such good shape heading forward.
Yeah, it's just we need to get the same team that we have at home on the road. Like that, I don't know what the ceiling of this team is. Like, you see this team at home, they're capable of playing good basketball on both sides of the court. Like, people love specific narratives about certain players, and the 3 guards can't do this, can't do this. I mean, all it comes down to is they have to play good enough basketball on both sides of the floor, right? And sometimes you can get away with having a better offense, kind of carrying your defense a little bit, and that's most likely what the Blazers are going to be. They just have to play both sides of the basketball. And you see this team at home when they play both sides of the basketball, and they look like a contender. And they struggled the first half, but contenders, Eric, fight back in a game like this.
Yeah.
Against good teams. Like, to come back from 20 down against a really good Chicago Bulls team that has been playing fantastic on both sides of the ball, that's what contenders do. Most mediocre teams don't do that. So it's just, on the road, they're a bottom 5 team in the league, probably. It's just crazy the difference there. But that's why, after some of those road losses, I was sitting there like, I'm not going to come to conclusions about this roster because we see this team play at home against good teams, and this team looks phenomenal, and they're able to effectively play both sides of the court, right? And sure, they have times where they struggle, but it's like, if our defense was destined to be that bad, I don't see how we have a third quarter we did today. Like, that looked like a contention level defense. Now it becomes sustaining that for multiple games, and the Blazers aren't quite there yet, at least when it comes to playing games away from Moda Center. But that's why I don't know what this ceiling of this team is, because part of me is sitting here like, there's no reason why we can't figure out how to play on the road the same way we do as home. Obviously, the home crowd is a bit of an advantage, but even if you get 80% of what we do at home on the road, we're a really good team. Like, so that's why I'm not coming to conclusions about this roster. That's why I'm not talking trades. I want to see this team figure it out on the road like they do at home, because at home this team is something else.
Yep, agreed.
Shout out to BR Swerve, $2 dono. He says, very, very well played second half. Need more. Appreciate it, BR Swerve. Shout out to Eat a Bowl of Rice, $5 dono. He says, extremely entertaining second half. Going to the game Saturday and will accidentally spill my drink on anyone that boos Nurk. Appreciate the $5 dono. Eat a Bowl of Rice. I don't advertise maybe getting into a fight and being banned from the Moda Center permanently, because that... You know, that's kind of risky, especially if somebody's been drinking. You know, they might fight you, man. So I don't advertise that. I don't advocate for that. Just let's not boo our players, because I think Nurkic has been playing hard. I thought he played really hard this game. I thought Nurkic played good this game. We'll get into that in his player card in a second. Shout out to Zach Landia, our mod, and he was our first member ever. 18 months. Year and a half. That's crazy. He says, great win to celebrate my 18-month anniversary. So that's 1.5 years. Appreciate
love you, Zachy.
Zach, I love you too, Zachy. Shout out to BC, $2 dono. He says, 333 people watching. Hit that thumbs up. # Rip City. Appreciate it, BC. I only advertise for you guys hitting that like button if somebody advertises for us, right? I don't do the typical YouTuber stuff usually in terms of asking for likes, but definitely hit that like button. It helps us out. It's and it's free, so you don't have to dono to hit that like button. Appreciate it. Let's jump into the team stats real quick. I'm curious to see the shooting splits. Yeah, look at Chicago, 47% from the field, 45% from three. They hit shots this game, man. I mean, Lonzo Ball had 2 contested threes to start this game. That kind of set the tone for them making some shots. Maybe it wasn't the best contested shots, but he's been shooting the lights out of the ball. And then DeRozan figured out how to shoot threes, and Levine was insane, man. So we've given up some 45% three-point shooting nights, but I think this is probably the best defense we've played on three-pointers in which a team has shot this well. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. Still don't like to see the 45% three-pointers, but the Levine at one point was 7 of 9, and then he misses his easiest one of the night. So yeah, he made some incredibly tough ones. I thought we did a pretty good job of doing that. And then after the first half, we also cut down on our turnovers, which helped a lot.
Yeah, this was the game where you can say they made shots. Okay, there's a lot of possessions where I'm like, dang, man, I'm thinking like Terry Stotts does. They're just making shots, but I mean that's the truth. 26 assists on 37 made field goals. You like to see that. Here's the thing: is we kind of went iso ball down the stretch there in the last couple of minutes and struggled. They have really good point of attack defenders. If Reese isn't in here, then I wish I didn't use the term, because I know he'd be like celebrating right now the fact that I said point of attack. That's his favorite phrase ever. But they
was trying to go out Caruso, and it just wasn't.
Yeah, Caruso and Lonzo Ball are great on-ball defensive guards. Their defense starts at the point of attack, right? And you can't just ISO them. They're going to do a good job, especially when they're allowed to be a little bit more physical. So, like, Dame will ISO and maybe get a little bit of his shoulder past Lonzo Ball, but Lonzo Ball can just push him, and Dame's not going to get a call. So going ISO ball the last, like, couple minutes, I thought contributed to some of our struggles, and we saw the template for how we can go on an offensive run. We got good shots all game long, in my opinion. 26 assists on 37 field goals. The way we move the ball is why we were getting good looks. When we stopped moving the ball, we really struggled to. So that was kind of the template for this game, and I like to see 26 assists on 37 made shots.
Yep. Love to see that. That's a really good percentage, and I think that's a really good balance between because you still want to let Dame and CJ try to get theirs at times. It's not the worst thing in the world. Maybe against certain defenders it is, but yeah, I really thought the ball was moving well in that second half especially.
Eric, what do you think is the most underrated stat on here for Portland?
Most underrated?
Yes, I hope you're saying the same thing I am.
The 10 steals?
No.
Okay. I might just be looking at
27
of 28.
28 from the free throw line.
We made our free throws finally.
We've been complaining about how, like, good shooters have been missing free throws. Norm, CJ, right? The only missed free throw today was Anthony Simons, who's a good shooter. He's 4 for 5, though. So that's fine. Got fouled a couple times. Got a couple Dame calls. Like, Dame can't get him, but now Anthony Simons can. It's just very backwards with the rest this year. But 27 for 28, Eric. Like, if this is a game where they go 21 for 28, they lose.
Yeah.
The free throw shooting was phenomenal today. I mean, you just look down the line here. You got Norman Powell, 4 for 4. Nurkic made both his. Dame got 7 free throws. Yay! Finally more than 5 free throws in it. That might be the first time he's got more than 5. Yeah, so 7 for 7 for him. 4 for 4 for Nas. 4 for 4 for Cody Zeller in his 4 minutes of play. Larry Nance Jr. hit both his free throws. Those were clutch. So that free throw shooting stands out. 96% on 28 free throws. That's phenomenal.
Yep. Glad to see us both get to the line a little bit, even though I felt like we should have gotten the line more and hit those, because lately it's been like 17, 18 free throws, and like you said, only hitting 11 or 12 of them. So yeah, it's nice to see them get to the line and take advantage of those opportunities. And once again, shout out to Nas and Nance for making those clutch ones.
Yeah, and for as much as it seemed like they were killing us with their offensive rebounding, we had more offensive boards than them.
Well, yeah, I mean, the second half it changed that, but that was more in the first half when that was happening.
Yeah. So that's the thing, is at halftime they I don't know if they made a concerted effort to really keep Chicago on the offensive glass, but there was definitely a change in the second half. I don't even think necessarily it was us doing a worse job than normal boxing out the first half. It's just like every time we didn't, the ball went right to them. That's kind of what I felt like. So I think we did an even better job in the second half. We kept them off the boards. Nurkic did a good job rebounding. So did Larry Nance Jr. And that's the thing, is like we were small for a good portion of that second half, with not only like Dame, CJ, Norm, the 3-guard lineup, but also with like Nas at the 4 and Larry Nance Jr. at the 5. But here's the thing, like collectively, that group still rebounds like above average, I would say, compared to the rest of the NBA. That unit rebounds, that unit boards up despite them giving up some size, and that's just effort. That's focusing on the little things such as boxing out. So this team has been a really good defensive rebounding team all year.
Yep. Very impressive night on the boards, especially after the first half. And then, so just that was the difference, I think. And then you see they had 29 points off our turnovers, so...
no, we had 29 points off their turnovers.
That always confuses.
That's ESPN. Yeah, I know, it's always confusing. But that
there's
basically
no way
Chicago gave up. Yeah, Chicago gave up 29 points off our turnovers. This is just straight from ESPN. So we scored 29 points because we had 18 points off 10 turnovers in the third. So we scored almost 2 points per possession. On like that's a 180 offensive rating off their turnovers or something like that. So we did a really good job converting their turnovers.
But still, only 9 fast break points, so I did get that number up. But giving up 26 is probably not ideal either, and that's what led to them getting off to such a good start.
Yeah. So I mean, I felt like we had more fast break points than that, but yeah, it is only 9 here on ESPN. We got to the paint, though, 50 points to the paint to their 42. You like to see that. There's their largest lead at 20, and they still lose the game. I mean, we were sloppy with the ball in the first half. We had 10 turnovers in the first quarter or something. I don't know. Like, Chicago turned over a lot in the third quarter because I thought we played really good defensively and flew around and made it tough for them. We had, I don't remember how much it was in the first quarter, but we had a bunch in the first quarter. And a couple of them was like, okay, we shouldn't be forcing that. But a lot of them, it was just like, man, Chicago's playing good D. You know, it's like Norm on the fast break. You kind of want him to be aggressive, and he attacks, and guys just like swarm him or play really good transition defense, you know, and steal the ball from him or something like that. Where that I'm okay with those types of turnovers. You're forcing the action. There's a solid chance you get a foul called for you, or you're able to get to the rim and finish. The athlete that nauses. But if they play good defense, you know, and they turn you over, like I'm okay with. I'm not okay with turnovers, but if you're going to turn the ball over, like those are the easiest ones I can handle.
Mm-hmm.
So, but overall, I thought they played like we were being a little bit sloppy, but part of it was Chicago flying around, being really active in passing lanes, rotating out quickly, and just playing really good defense, in my opinion, in that first quarter. And then it was the same thing, vice versa, for us with them in the third.
True.
So, alrighty, you ready to jump into player cards?
Yes, let's do it.
All right, let me pull up the first one here. I'm just gonna do this manually. The first one. Nope, that's not the right graphic. That's the other graphic. I haven't downloaded yet. Okay, hold on. That's the. Okay, we'll get that up in a second.
Man.
Anything in chat? Anything in chat you want to shout out? Let's tune in with chat. What's up?
No, chat's being dominated by Jackie Treehorn, who only talks about Marcus Camby. He's had about 50 comments about Marcus Camby. It's so weird.
Oh yeah, he's our resident Marcus Camby fan. I mean, I don't know. I'll take Larry Nance Jr. over Marcus Camby, at least in 2021. Oh, man. All right, let me get it up here for y'all.
Jane Valesso asks, who is the player of the game tonight? You're about to find out with the first slide. I'm taking it.
I mean, you could pick two different guys. I don't necessarily think this first slide is the player of the game. What's going on with this? I am so confused. I would probably pick Larry Nance Jr. for player of the game. Sorry, things are being weird here, so I'm trying to get this downloaded from the cloud. And it's not downloading. Strange.
Hey, Kyle Wilson, who's your uncle? His uncle's being inducted to the Oregon State Football Hall of Fame on Saturday.
Oh yeah, if you talk Beavers with Eric, he'll be down. We're gonna have like 50 people leave the stream because you're a Beavers fan.
That's also my time. I was there. I was at Oregon State during that time. So.
Yeah. I mean, understandable.
Cool. Mike Hessler, shout out, the starting punter.
All right, here we go. Yeah, my stuff was being glitchy and blocking the download. Basically, we got a cloud. Krish makes all the graphics for us, and then I download them and plug them into the stream. That's how it goes. But that was glitching out for a second, so we should be good to go here in a sec.
The original Dizzy D with the $2 dono says, another W, we never gave up. Hashtag Rip City Soldier style.
W's.
What's up, Dizzy D?
What's up, Dizzy D? All right, here we go. Dame's first. Not the best shooting night for him, but I thought overall he played pretty good. Damian bang Lillard. He had a couple bang moments, a couple deep threes, which is nice to see. 6 for 18, but gets to the line 7 times, 22 points on 18 shots. That's not horrible efficiency, especially when I felt like if this was last year, I felt like he would have had 14 free throws this game. But he passed the ball well. He made plays for others. 10 assists. He's a plus 15, which means we got outscored by 10 in the 8 minutes he did not play. 10 assists. Got a steal, got a block. I thought defensively he was good this game. He drew a he drew a meaningful charge there in the second half. He had a play that stood out to me where he rotated to help on a guy that was driving. He kicked it out to the first guy. Dame was the second guy out, and he got out to the second pass. Like, Dame had a possession where he had multiple good efforts and rotations. So that's the thing is, when you're a shooter, and this is the point I'll make about CJ McCollum too, is when you're a shooter, sometimes you could have games where you're getting good shots and shots that you normally hit at a good percentage, but won't necessarily have a good shooting night. Sometimes they just don't fall. You got to control the controllables outside of that. That's what I've always said is you got to control the controllables. Sometimes if you're not hitting shots, you got to make a positive production in other ways. And I thought Dame, outside of missing some shots early, got going a little bit late, passed the ball well, made good plays, and then played good defense and had a positive impact on this game because of it.
Yeah, I almost feel like he's looking to pass a little too much on his drives. But you like the 10 assists. I think that's a really good sign. Throughout the season, I think heading into tonight, he was 5th in the league in assists per game. So you like that, even though he struggled shooting the ball percentage-wise throughout the year, he's still making plays. And being a distributor, and I thought he did a really good job of that tonight again.
Yeah, on his drives though, man, like he's not getting calls, and I feel like he's just getting smothered, and guys are just flying at him, knowing that they can be physical with him and smother him a little bit. I don't know. I feel like there's times where he beats the guy defending him slightly, and that defender is able to just be physical with him to kind of like make their way back into the play, where otherwise it would be a foul last year, and if defenders weren't allowed to be as physical with him, Dame would be able to get by them easier and then deal with the help that's coming. Now it's just like he beats a guy and they just ride his hip and bump him.
Yeah, for sure. I don't understand how that's not a foul half the time when he drives in. The guy sliding into him or sticking out his knee and clipping him on his way by, or he's getting having to go through an arm bar on his way to the hoop. Just ridiculous.
Yeah, give Damian Lillard a call challenge. But still, good game from him tonight. Let's jump into the second player. You got Yusuf Nurkic. We've been waiting all stream for this, Eric. I'll let you go first. Let me read off his stat line first. 18 points, 12 boards in 23 minutes. 8 for 13 shooting. 1 assist, 1 steal, 1 block. He did have 5 fouls. That limited his playing time. But overall, it's a really good stat line.
Yeah, and so first play of the game, he starts 1 of 3 because he kind of tried to tip the ball in and then got it and got blocked. And then he got it back and then went up strong and made it. It shows 1 of 3, so he's shooting 33%. Oh, terrible at finishing, right? But that's not really. That doesn't mean he's terrible at finishing. As long as he finishes the play, right? That's the most important part about finishing. And Reese posted some analytics about finishing around the rim, and I believe Nurk was around the 71st percentile in the NBA. So not. I mean, that's above average. It's normal. It's not terrible. But so Nurk goes out of the game. He's got 6 and 6 in a few, like he played like 4 or 5 minutes and goes out. He's got 6.6 rebounds. And like I go on Twitter and it's just all these people like, Nurk's ruined the Blazers experience for me. And Nurk is so trash. And then I see like, actual Blazers media people saying like, Nurk looks like he's stuck in cement out there. Like, what a horrible game. And all this stuff. I was like, what are these people watching? Like, I don't understand. And then, so I started clapping back at people, and then I get like, oh, he's terrible on defense and he can't finish at the rim. And then this is coming off of this morning when Jason Quick was on, the No Dunks pod or whatever this morning, answering questions. And Jason Quick said this too. He's like, he's having his worst year finishing, and he seems like he's getting worse, and defensively he's been the problem. And I'm just like, what are these people talking about? Like, I don't get it. And so, like,
that's I'm disappointed because I'm like, I give quick support and genuinely he asks good questions and write good pieces. So, like, I hold media members accountable. Like, when they say dumb stuff, I'll call it out. And usually I'm like, good job, Jason Quick. I cannot say that if he has takes like that because that's horrible.
Yeah, and so a little bit might be, he's talking to people within the organization, so maybe, like, they say, well, we're kind of down on Nurk, what he's doing, or, like, he's being kind of pouty, and then he takes that to be he's the problem or whatever. But, like, this is a prime example, right? Nurk, so I forgot what happened, but he had a lay-in, he finished, and then the next play, I think it was Dame missed the fast break lay-in, and Nurk hustles down, grabs the rebound, and lays it in. And then the next play, he gets, I think it was like Lonzo or something, switched on to him, and he misses a little, like, 3-foot runner in the middle of the key, which he should have made, but it rims out, And then I just see the tweets again. See, Nurk can't finish. If you're a big man, you have to make that. Like, there's no excuse. Worst finisher ever. See? And then people are posting the video clip on, like, that means for sure because he missed one shot. Like, no other player ever misses a shot. And I'm just like, dude, like, so you're just ignoring the last two plays before that? It's just...
And then the play after that, he had a spin move and a left-handed finish.
Right.
Yeah.
It makes so sense. I'm so frustrated with the Nurk hate. And I mean, I'm sorry if this offends anyone, but if you think Nurk is a bad defender, you do not understand the game of basketball. This guy is by far our best defender. He is by far our best, like, help defender, our best rim protector, our best guy in pick and roll coverages. Now Nance might start to challenge that if he continues to play this way.
But Nance is elite too.
Yeah, but consistently this year, Nurk has been not only good on defense, but elite on defense. And that's hard to do when the whole game you're trying to cover for everyone else's mistakes on the team and bad rotations. I heard, so this is the other thing Quick said. He said it was Nurk's fault that we give up so many open threes. And I was like,
what?
I almost threw my head through the wall when I heard that. It's like, it's so dumb. Like, this guy is crushing it on the boards. He's crushing it on defense. Yeah, he misses some bunnies sometimes, but he's still, like we mentioned, every single game he's setting a career high. He's actually doing really well finishing around the rim in comparison to the rest of the league and stuff like that. This is not a case where he has just been awful this year, and I'm sick of it. Like, people do not understand what they're watching if they continue to get mad at this guy. Now, I will start to get mad at him for the crap he posted after the Houston game, a game we win, and he just says, like, just running around out there, didn't contribute, that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. So that kind of stuff is uncalled for, and this was actually a good point Quick had, something that I have been saying all season. When you hold people accountable, it's how they respond to that. It's not that you held them accountable. Mm-hmm. And so I think the problem is that some people have voiced concern that they would lose Nurk if they start to bench him or take him out if he messes up, things like that. So give him a chance to respond to those situations. And they want him to, instead of if something bad happens, instead of like pouting and then just like checking himself out of the game and being kind of mentally soft, they want him to use that to be like, no, this ain't happening. I'm gonna take advantage of this and I'm gonna fight. Like, and that's something we've seen on the road. This team just has like no fight in them, right? So I'm sure Billups wants him to fight and stuff like that. So other than that, that's like my one complaint of Nurkic is he does take himself out of games sometimes when he feels like he's not involved, when he could get himself involved more if that's the problem. But other than that, this guy has been really good this year, and I don't get the hate at all. I just don't get it.
Going into this game, he's shooting 59.8% from two. His career high before then was 52.5%. When he came here after playing in Denver, when everybody had Nurk fever, during that 20-game stretch for Portland, he shot 51% from two. Now he's shooting, after this game, is going to be 60% from two. And he's the worst finisher in the league, can't finish. Like, it doesn't, like, it's not, that, those complaints aren't backed up by facts. They're just factually untrue. And it's a bunch of people being angsty. I don't know, man. And I know sometimes there's some positions where it's like, I don't know if Nurkic was necessarily giving it his all, but most of the time I think he is. I think he's trying. I think he's playing hard. At least defensively, he's been phenomenal defensively this year, and advanced metrics back that up. They back up the eye test. And you look at this game, and he dominated. He dominated this game when he was in. He goes 8 for 13, but 2 of those misses, Eric, he followed up and got free throws out of.
Yep.
So in my mind, he's 8 for 11. I mean, he can't finish.
One he finished, and one he got free throws. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, that's the thing is, he can miss 10 layups if he gets the rebound on all of them and then makes the 11th one. It's the same thing. I'm cool with that. Cool with that. He has 6 offensive rebounds in this game, Eric. He had more offensive rebounds on misses than he had missed shots.
Yeah.
He had 5 misses. He had 6 offensive rebounds. He went strong. He finished. He had 18 points in 23 minutes. He had 2 good finishes early. Then that one finish in which everybody freaked out at him for it. He was mad at himself. And the next time down, he goes back and gets another finish. He has a good left-handed hook. Like, I don't understand how this dude went from, like, cult hero when he came here to now he's just completely, like, overhated and ridiculous, and I don't understand. He played great today, defensively, offensively, on the boards. He had a complete game. I think you can make a case for him being our best player today because he was phenomenal, and this is what we need from Yusuf Nurkic. And the attitude he showed today, the hustle, the heart, like, dude sprinted down the court to follow up a Dame miss.
Mm-hmm. And also, the beginning of this game, I love the game plan. So we go to him like the first 2 possessions, maybe even 3 possessions, and they were post-ups too, and we had some action out of it too. So if he didn't have a shot, there were some guys open too. But he went strong, and like I said, he missed the first couple on that first possession, but he got it back, and then the second time he scored. And then the other time was the time he got the rebound and got the free throws, I think. But yeah, so it's just, I think the frustration lies in the fact that he's being used as a screener and a dribble handoff player. And I just don't understand why we're using him that way. So I can understand his frustration. And let me just read off Andrew Miller's because it kind of ties in with what I want to say. Andrew Miller with the $10.
Read off Daniel's first because it also ties in.
Yeah, okay. Daniel G with a $5 donation said, haters gonna hate. You gotta believe in Nurk and the Blazers as a whole. Hashtag Rip City for life. And then Andrew Miller, $10 donation says, I agree with you guys about Nurk. He's elite when it comes to defense. While I think his finishing ability is over-scrutinized, would you say he's a little soft sometimes? Yeah, I agree. He definitely can get soft at times. But I mean,
if he's producing, so what?
His per 36 minute marks like the last couple of weeks since his playing time's been down. Like they've been pretty good, and also, like Nurk talked a lot this offseason. At last game of last year, he says all these comments. So of course the Stotts lovers are mad at Nurk now, have turned on Nurk because he threw their beloved Terry Stotts under the bus, right? But here's the thing. Like, you can't just change someone overnight. So the changes Billups and the coaching staff are going to instill in this guy are going to gradually take place over the season. So yeah, it's okay to admit he's soft right now, but like how like once again, how he responds to situations that happen, or like not playing the fourth quarter last game. I mean, honestly, if he was soft, he wouldn't have came out hard this game. He would have been pouty that he didn't get to play it all in the fourth quarter. But what do? We go right to him right away. So I thought that was really smart by Billups, and that's how you get a guy like getting in the right direction. And by like, yeah, hey, my bad last game. It wasn't that you did anything wrong. I just felt like that lineup was winning and we won the game. So like, I hope you're cool, but like, we had to I had to keep Nance in there last game. And then this game, I'll be like, dude, but we're going right back to you. We need you this game. And he backs that up with giving him the ball early, and it got Nurkic going. And so I thought that was really smart by Chauncey. But as the season goes on, I expect them to incorporate more things with him handling the ball and playmaking. But like, give Chauncey some time to fix these things. He's already shooting at a career high, finishing the ball. So if we're starting at that level and he improves throughout the season, gets better shots, goes stronger on those shots, draws more fouls, and gets to the line, which he's hitting a really high percentage this year, like, give Chauncey a chance to work with him, and before we just completely give up on him and trade him for some scrub. It doesn't make sense. Like, I've seen people say, like, we're better off with him not even on the team. And then, like, okay, Zeller's been okay. Like, he's okay. But anyone saying that Zeller is better than Yusuf Nurkic is just wrong. They're just wrong.
Yeah.
He hasn't been better defensively, and it's not even close. Zeller's been a negative defender this year. Nurkic has been a positive defender. Yeah, if you look at finishing, everyone's like, oh, Zeller comes in and finishes all the time. Zeller's finishing stats have been horrible this year compared to Nurk. So, like, it doesn't make sense to me, like, why it's like people get these narratives made up in their mind. And so anytime Nurk misses a shot, all of a sudden it's like, oh, same old Nurk, can't finish, stupid lazy shots and whatever. And they don't realize that this is not the guy that's causing our defensive issues. He's making up for most of them with he's been phenomenal in the pick and roll coverages this year. And the only times it looks like he hasn't been are times when the guard messes up or the rotations are bad, and then someone doesn't pick up his guy when he has to pick up someone else's guy, and then someone's like, Frank Kaminsky scored 31 points, even though those are mostly when Nurk wasn't even in the game, but people ignore that or don't even realize that. And it's driving me crazy. So I'm going to get to the point where I might have to deactivate for a while if I keep reading this crap on Twitter, because it's driving me crazy, man.
Eric, Twitter needs you, Eric. We need you to speak some sense into us. I feel it, but I mean, we got enough people on there, man. Like, there's always gonna be ridiculous stuff, and I don't know. I just try and ignore it, but yeah. Shout out Hailblazers $2 dono. He says Nurk is our second best player. I don't know if I'll go there right now, but I mean, analytically, he probably is. He might be our best player this year analytically. Shout out Hailblazers $2 dono, and then shout out Rock Solid Gaming, $5 New Zealand dono. He says, love the content, guys. Great second half. Think the crowd loves Larry Nance Jr. more than Rocar already. He's getting more minutes every game. Was CJ gassed? I don't think CJ was gassed. CJ just had a tough night shooting the ball. Speaking of Larry Nance Jr., you ready to talk about him, Eric?
Yeah, let's go.
Let's talk Larry Nance Jr. Scary Larry. 16 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals, 6 for 9 from the field, 2 for 3 from 3. Hit both his free throws. 25 minutes, 16 points efficiently, 9 boards. Like, that's a really good rebounding game from Nance. Like, him and Nurkic on the boards have been phenomenal. Here's a stat, by the way. Nurkic was the third best rebounder in terms of rebound percentage, which is the best way to gauge rebounding. Forgot to throw that in there, but he's the third best rebounder in the league going into today. Only people he's behind is Andre Drummond and Rudy Gobert. So that matters. That matters. Defensive rebounding, Eric, is something that, like, when you get defensive boards, it's like, okay, cool. You know what I mean? Like, you don't really notice, you don't think about it. When you're not getting defensive boards, you notice it, and it's extremely infuriating.
Yeah.
You know, so you got to appreciate the defensive rebound. Larry Nance Jr. rebounded well today. But 3 assists. I don't remember any pass specifically, but he's always been a pretty good passing big man, so nice to see that. And then 3 steals. One of them, I'm not even going to give him credit for. Actually, he deserves some credit because he got to the spot in the first place. One of them, they just threw right to him. But he positioned himself really well in that play. Was very active defensively, helped spark our good defensive third quarter. And I like having a guy like him who can be a backup 5, and we can throw him into a game when we're down and like switch things up to playing aggressive, and he does really well playing aggressive and gets deflections and forces turnovers and helps spark runouts, and that's what you need to do to come back.
Oh, gee, who could have guessed that playing an aggressive defense would actually be better, right? Certainly not us, right? We've never talked about that.
Yeah, man, he just needs to stand around the rim while guards come off pick and roll and shoot open mid-range jumpers. Yeah, that's the way to go, I guess.
And his one missed 3 was a half-court shot at the end of the third quarter, so that didn't even count, really. Wish they would not count those in field goal percentages, so to encourage people to shoot those more. But
he's 6 for 8 from the field and 2 for 2 from 3.
Yeah.
They need to have a stat called forced heaves.
Yeah.
And then if you make it, you get it counted as a made 3. If you miss, it doesn't count as a missed 3.
Yep.
I would love, because Caruso is sitting there with 2 seconds on the clock. He gets the ball 80 feet from the rim, and he just sits there dribbling. Like,
well, that's fine
I'm
if the other team wants to do that.
Yeah, but it's like they need to switch the stat around, call it a forced heave, not a missed 3, because it's not like a serious 3-point attempt, you know. So he's 2 for 2 from 3 today. He knocked down both open 3s he got, and missed a half court heave. 6 for 8 from the field, super insanely efficient from him.
Yeah, and in the first half, he had 2 bad turnovers. I was like, oh, man, come on, Larry, not again. And then played awesome the rest of the way. This guy was just filling it up tonight. And, yeah, he's shooting. All of a sudden, he's more confident. Like, he's shooting shots that he was not even thinking about shooting earlier in the season. And I think that's helping him out a lot. He's shooting with confidence. He's going up strong. He missed a couple post-ups in the second half, but I thought they were good decisions to try and take advantage of mismatch there. So I have no problem with those. But man, this guy was just phenomenal on both ends tonight. And when he's in the game, the ball just moves well on offense, and he's in the right spot a lot. Got another dunk tonight, being in that dunker spot. And on defense, yeah, his aggressive style is exactly what we need to get these guys going, and that's what brings the energy. That's playing aggressive defense. I feel like on the road we should just start out trapping or doing blitzing every screen or just something just to try and maybe get a steal early in a game and then get a breakaway dunk, and all of a sudden we're hyped, you know. I feel like we need to do something like that. Just have just a crazy aggressive game plan. It doesn't have to last for too long, but just to try and get some stops. Because honestly, we're getting blitzed at the beginning of games anyway. We've been down like 13-2 a lot of games, or 15-6, or you know. So what does it matter if we're giving up open shots, if being aggressive or playing a conservative defense? So I just love to see them like just try to come out with some sort of unique pressure-oriented game plan on the road. And yeah, if Nance ever gets inserted into the starting lineup, I don't know if that will come or not, but I think that would be even more incentive to do something like that if he's in there.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I know Larry Nance Jr. is transitioning to being our backup 5, but we brought him in with the idea of him being our backup 4, and I probably shouldn't.
It could be both.
Yeah, and I probably shouldn't go here, Eric, but it's so much nicer having him than Melo. Like, I shouldn't go there, but I mean, it's just like, even offensively, I think he's better because he gets the ball and he'll, like, he doesn't force shots. He gets the ball and he makes quick decisions too, right? He doesn't get the ball and then stand there and the defense can kind of sort itself out and then guard him, and then he'll just pass it to Dame and the defense is set, so then Dame ISOs up against the shot clock, right? Because the ball's stuck to Larry Nance Jr. He gets the ball, he swings it. he doesn't let the defense settle. Like, the defense will be moving towards him. He'll get the ball. He'll go immediately. He'll pass it. Then he'll set an off-ball screen, or he'll pass it and run and set a quick on-ball screen before the defense can be set up to guard it. Like, that stuff matters offensively, and it doesn't show up in the stat sheet, and it's not something that a lot of people notice, but there's certain things you can do on the offensive end when you're not shooting. Just being a guy that moves the ball quick, sets off-ball screens, sets good screens as well, that matter in the long run. So Larry Nance Jr. does that, and then he finishes well. He doesn't force shots. He's knocking down his threes right now, and it's so nice to have a guy like that. That's why I said he's a guy that might not be the most impressive player statistically, but he helps teams win, and he does those little things.
Well, we're seeing now why the GMs in the GM survey before the season started voted the acquisition of Larry Nance as the most underrated move of the summer, because he is this type of player who can impact a game through not even scoring. I mean, the last couple of games he scored well, of course, but this is a guy who, even if he didn't have 16 points tonight, still would have had a huge impact on this game. And that's really important to have those kind of games, especially when you already have guys who can fill up the points column on our team. We don't necessarily need more of those. And that's why I always DeRozan's played awesome this year. Obviously, you'd want him if you could get him, but an acquisition like that doesn't necessarily make us a whole lot better when you think about how much he needs the ball and how much he's not a very good defender either. We tried to, the whole second half, we basically tried to get him isolated on one of our guards, so by pick and rolls. So that should tell you exactly how good he is defensively. So I just feel like you need guys on this roster that can do all the little things, and he's just doing it to almost perfection in the last couple days.
Yep. You ready to move on?
Yep.
All right. Norman Powell's up next. 18 points, 6 for 11 shooting, made both his threes, got super hyped. I just love seeing the team get hyped, because we have a lot of situations with this team where it's like, I don't know, they're not showing enough energy, not showing enough just pride, hyping this on the road. At home, they come back and they're just, it's fun to see the energy within the team, and it gets the building going. It's fun to just have that energetic feeling and that atmosphere within the Moda Center. 35 minutes tonight. I thought he played good defensively, about as good as you could hope for. Didn't have any breakdowns that stood out to me. 18 points. Hit that big three when we were going on a run there in the third quarter. I like what I saw.
Had an and one too in that fourth quarter.
He's the type of guy that makes momentum plays offensively. He might not score as much as Dame or as much as CJ, but it always seems like when we start to build a little bit of momentum, he'll come through and have a 3-point play on a great drive and finish, or he'll knock down that three.
Yeah, he stays ready. And this was a game where there was a stretch in the fourth quarter, a good 4 or 5 minutes, where I was like, I had to keep double checking that Norm was even in the game, because we weren't passing the ball on offense or whatever. But that's what I'm saying. Stay ready, because you will get an opportunity eventually, especially with the way Dame's passing right now. So, good game from Norm. And I feel like we should try to get him some more threes. With how efficiently he's shooting the ball, try to get him some more looks. But other than that, also, I didn't really notice any defensive mistakes by him tonight. I think one of the box outs on Caruso was his fault, and he's leaking a little bit to go down the court when the shot goes up, which maybe that's something that the coaches want him to do, so I can't necessarily fault him for that, because they'd probably correct that if it wasn't something they want him to do. But yeah, so other than that, I didn't really notice him much at all. And against a team that has a lot of guards that'll try to take our guards one-on-one, to not really stand out on defense, either good or bad, I think is a good sign.
Yeah, and there's certain things that you just live with the odds of. If Norm leaks out and you give up one offensive rebound a game because of it, you probably live with that because a lot of times you're able to hit him on a hit-ahead pass and he's able to make something happen or force the defense to get cross-matched, which they can take advantage of later in the possession. So there's certain plays that maybe don't work out sometimes, but you live with because the other side of it is good enough. It's that way with turnovers at times too. Like Dame had that hit-ahead pass to Nasir Little that went through his hands and was a turnover. But you absolutely live with those odds because, like, Nas got his hands on the ball. Most of the time, he's probably going to catch that, and if he catches that, that's automatically a dunk, right? So you live with the odds of that pass connecting, and if it connects, you're absolutely going to get a bucket. You know what I mean? Like, just like it comes down to certain shots, you live with certain players missing some shots because the odds are normally they're going to make enough for it to help the team. So with Norm and maybe, like, leaking out a little bit, you probably live with that, and that's the thing. He's been doing it all season, and we've still been a really good defensive rebounding team. So,
well, I think with Dirk in the game, you can get away with it more than. So you've got to kind of pick your spots, I guess. But
for sure.
And then also, if we're not throwing it ahead to him, then it's pointless to do it. But as long as we continue to try to get him some easy transition buckets, I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, agreed with that. Anything else on Norm?
Yeah, Andrew Miller, $5 dono says, got to give Norm his shout out. Really liked his game, cold-blooded mentality, and his end-to-end speed is insane. Love Norm. Thank you.
The dude's an athlete. Appreciate it, Andrew Miller. Good to see you. I was wondering where you were at, Andrew. I hadn't seen you in a few streams. I don't know if I missed you in chat, but it's good to see you, man. Appreciate it. It's just nice having a guy that you can throw it to and they can go downhill in transition, because like Dame and CJ are shot makers, but they're not, given their size, I wouldn't call them guys that you can hit in transition and they'll just attack one or two defenders and be able to body their way into a layup. You know what I mean? Most of it will come in the half court and they'll beat guys with their quickness or their shiftiness. Where Norm is just a guy that you can give it to and he'll just power his way into some transition buckets, pick up fouls on him, and force the action. And you need that type of guy, especially when your half-court offense isn't flowing super well and you're missing some jumpers. You need that guy that can go and do that. In the past we've had, like, Gary Trent Jr. was never that guy. Robert Covington obviously isn't that guy. Alfred Gaminu wasn't really that guy. Mo Harkless would have times but couldn't do it as consistently, so it's just nice to have that transition threat. So let's move on if you're good to go.
Yep,
good to go. Moving on to Robert Woko Covington. 10 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals, 2 blocks. He filled up the stat sheet. That's the thing, is like I thought Roko played a good game today. Had a couple defensive breakdowns, but had some good defensive players as well. 3 steals and 2 blocks. I thought overall, on average, he was good defensively tonight. He was efficient. Eric, he hit 2 2-pointers. He's becoming a slasher, man.
I know. It's nice.
I don't know what's gotten into him, but had 2 drives and finishes with contact. Also had another drive with a great shovel pass to Larry Nance Jr. 3 assists for him. I mean, like, Roko's always kind of been a 3-point shooter, and it was speculated that he had worked on his playmaking ability this past off season, and we haven't seen it pretty much all year. The past couple of games, he's starting to get aggressive, kind of attacking, and he's making the right things happen most of the time. He did have 3 turnovers. I don't remember exactly how those happened, but I like, that he's trending upwards, in my opinion, defensively. He's still not back to where he was last year or where he's been throughout his career, still having too many breakdowns and mistakes. But I think he's been better the past couple games than he was earlier this season. And then 2 for 5 from 3, 40%. You'll take that, and you'll take 2 for 3 inside the arc from somebody like him, and him creating a little bit of stuff for other players.
Yeah, David Doyle asks, is it Billups that has gotten into Roko? Maybe. We heard Robert say in the offseason that he was trying to work on his game off the dribble a little bit more. And we've also, but we also heard him say that that's not his game either. So who knows? But yeah, I definitely think Billups is telling him to attack those situations, because we've seen mediocre players attack when we have bad rotations, and almost every team, if you pass the ball enough, would have some sort of breakdown at some point. So if you get the ball and put it on the floor and dribble into that right away, you can obviously cause an even bigger advantage. And we saw that especially in the Philadelphia game. We lost. That's what they did to us the whole game. So, yeah, I think maybe that's coaching, or maybe that's just Rocco recognizing that. The thing that stood out to me the most, when Dame hit a late three, Robert was the first one jumping up, pointing at his wrist. So that was good to see that, despite his minutes getting cut a little bit the last few games, he was still rooting on and supporting his team. And I think that's really important that we have that kind of camaraderie and chemistry and stuff like that. I think that's something that needs to be even more on the road, to try to get the team to self-engage and get them going just with some fun bench antics or something. We're missing our Zach Collins bench antics right now. So someone's got to step up and do something on the bench to get the team hyped up.
Yep, I agree. We heard the quick report about there being a returning player that wasn't all the way bought in, and everybody's speculating Rocco, and then he comes out the first shift last game against the Raptors and just looks disinterested, and then it seemed like he woke up that game. Mm-hmm. And tonight, energy-wise, I think he was there. And if he's not like fully bought in, but then he has the coach tell him, hey, go create off the dribble if they run out on your three-point shot. I mean, that's a coach showing confidence in you, even though that's not his game. Like, that's a coach showing some confidence in you. So he seemed more energetic the last couple games. He seemed more like himself. And we need Rocco to be himself. That's the only way we're going to reach our full potential as a defense, no matter what scheme we're running. So it's nice to see him kind of wake up after that first terrible shift against Toronto. Also nice to see him hit some shots. And here's the thing with him off the dribble is it's not something that he has to do every game, right? Mm-hmm. He just has to pick and choose his spots and make the right play. And if guys are running at you so hard because you're pretty much just thought of as a three-point shooter and you have space to get into the lane and maybe put up a little 5-foot push shot, do it. Do it. Like he's a competent enough basketball player to do that, right? Or just attack the closeout, get to the elbow, make a second guy think about helping over, and then kick. Just make basic basketball plays. And I feel like too often he gets stuck where guys run at him hard and he doesn't shoot the ball, and then he just kicks to Dame, and then we ISO, right? And we made a living off that last year offensively, but if Dame doesn't have it going, or even if Dame does have it going, being able to attack those hard closing closeouts and force a second guy to rotate to you can open some things up, and it doesn't require like a ton of ball handling ability or even passing ability. It's a basic basketball play, so I like that he's looking to do that.
Yeah, so are you saying we shouldn't trade him for Marvin Bagley?
Bro, Blazer fans complain about having injury-prone bigs and not having good enough defense, and then they want to trade Robert Covington for Marvin Bagley, who's injury-prone and can't play defense, and is a free agent this offseason. And if he plays good for us, he's going to get paid like $20 million. Like, I don't... Rocco's better than Marvin freaking Bagley. And Marvin Bagley's a malcontent, and we see how people hate on Nurkic, right? Like, I don't understand. It's just such a contradiction. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, apparently a lot of fans want Marvin Bagley III, who plays for Sacramento. That's been some of the Twitter talk lately. I am not on board with that. Let me just say that now. I said we weren't going to discuss trades, but that's not a trade that should be happening. So I'm happy to say no to that one right now.
Yep, and that's kind of the. So Billups made a calculated decision to call out possible lineup changes, and once again, that's to hopefully trigger something in these guys to get them going and be like, oh crap, I got to pick it up. So it's encouraging that ever since then, everyone pretty much that we thought could be the culprit Now we haven't gotten to CJ yet, but the other ones that we thought might be the culprits have all played fairly well since those comments, and it doesn't seem to be an effort issue. So this is the one really cool thing that Quick said, or not cool, but like inside information kind of. So he said that the problem with Rocco isn't that he is like a bad defender or whatever. It's that his whole career he's based his defense on gambling and taking chances, trying to get in the passing lanes, kind of overhelping and trying to recognize situations before they happen and make a steal that way or a deflection, stuff like that. So, but in Chauncey's system, Chauncey wants him to play in the system and not gamble as much and stay home if he's guarding a certain player that you can't leave and stuff like that. And so I think the adjustment has been for Rocco to not leave his guy or not leave a certain player or a spot on the floor. And he's causing some defensive problems not because he's not bought into the system, just because he's so used to trying to get a defensive stop that way. And he thinks he has like an angle at something and he doesn't, and then it causes an open three. So the more he plays the way Billups wants him to, Quick made it sound like the more confidence Billups will have in him, because the problems have been mostly because he's not staying home. And I always use football analogies. So it's like sometimes you have a really good defensive line that can get pressure, and sometimes your linebackers are really good, and you just need your defensive line to do their job up front and just keep certain players where they're at, and then the linebackers have to fill the gaps. And if you get a linebacker that's like, oh, I think they're going to run outside on this play, but his assignment was to fill one of the middle gaps, and so he runs out and then he gets faked and they run it right through his spot in the hole, then the entire defense looks like crap, because the one guy it's not necessarily that he's a bad defender, he just wasn't doing what the coaching was telling him to do in that situation, and he gambled and made a mistake. And so I think that's what was happening with Rocco. So hopefully as the season goes on, he's not the one that's leaving his hole in the defense to go gamble on someone else's guy. He did get caught doing that a few times in this game, which led to open threes. But if you could just cut doing that, I feel like our base defense would be so much better.
Yeah, I agree with that completely. And I've talked about him over helping one pass away and stuff like that. And he
did that again tonight. One of the videos I posted is him. Mm-hmm. He's one pass away. He just inexplicably runs down into the paint, and then I think it was Levine just passes the Lonzo ball for a wide open three. It's just weird.
Yeah. Let's move on to CJ. All right. I've talked a little bit about CJ Baby Daddy McCollum. There's a clip of him on Twitter with his his super pregnant now wife. I forget what her name is. Isn't it like Elaine? Is it Elaine? Is that her name?
I'm not confident enough to say yes or no.
I don't know. Apologies if I butchered CJ McCollum's baby mama's name. But yeah, he's going to have a kid sometime soon, so congrats to him for that. Tonight, struggled. Elise. Okay, I was close. Elise, you're right.
Chat.
I was on the right chat.
Shervin was first.
Yeah, I'm saying you're right to chat. Yeah. Good job, Shervin. You were first, and Noah and Riddle were on it, and so is Krish. What were your thoughts? I've talked about him. What were your thoughts on his game tonight?
I mostly agree with you that even in the worst shooting parts of CJ, he's still commands attention on defense, so there's still things you can do with him. It's just, I think the problem is when the ball's moving like it was tonight, we had the 26 assists, and then someone, or like CJ, just takes a really, really bad shot. Like he had one, it was at the end of a quarter, but he was kind of like falling down as he was shooting it, and just didn't really have control of the ball and just ISO'd the whole 10 seconds or whatever. It just stands out so much right now when the rest of the possessions were like moving the ball, and then he's like, oh, I got to get my shot. So I'm fine with him ISOing. I feel like he could just have situations where he needs to be aware that it's not there sometimes, and that he doesn't have to do that.
Yeah.
But other than that, like it's not like a huge complaint. I just feel like it's standing out so much more the times he does do it now, just because the offense seems to be flowing much better when we don't have to resort to that.
Yeah, well, let me make this point. As a scorer, it's hard for a guy like CJ McCollum to be as aggressive as he should be without forcing a couple shots each game.
Yeah.
Like, it's hard for some people to understand that if they haven't, like, played a good bit of basketball. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard to put yourself in the mind of somebody who's out there trying to make things happen on the court. Like, it's easy to sit here and nitpick, like, oh, that's a bad shot, he shouldn't have done that, and oh, that was a better shot, he should have done that more, and whatnot. Like, obviously, if he does force a bad shot, it's, something that you shouldn't be doing, but it's very hard to be as aggressive as you should be as a scorer, as a shooter, and not force a couple bad looks, because that's what comes with the aggressiveness, is you're really trying to make something happen, and sometimes that manifests itself into you over pushing it, overdoing it. It's extremely hard to consistently not overdo it and not underdo it. You know what I'm saying? So that's something that some people understand and some people don't, and I can live with him forcing like one or two bad shots a game. There's problems where he'll force way too much, and at some point he needs to like collect himself and analyze things and be like, okay, I'm definitely overdoing it. I need to rein things back, and there's times where he should be doing that and he doesn't. Overall tonight, I think he forced one or two shots, but his shot selection I don't think was bad. Do you agree with that whole take, or is there any part of that you disagree with?
I mean, I get what you're saying. Definitely understand that. But at the same time, I mean, once again, there was a play where his 1-3 tonight, Nurk tips out a rebound, and CJ's just standing there, catches the ball, confidently shoots catch and shoot three, and it's money, right?
Yeah, but it's like, I think he had a missed catch and shoot three earlier in the game, and he missed it, and people were freaking out at him and saying, F you bum, like...
See, no, I would never say that. I thought that was a good shot, and I will never get mad at CJ for taking an open catch and shoot three. That'll never... If you ever hear that from me, tell me I'm an idiot, because
it definitely wasn't you. We're reasonable, I think.
But yeah. So I agree with you, but then I also see that stretch that culminated in him getting double teamed, and Nurk runs to the basket and CJ throws it to him for a dunk. I think that put us up 6 at the time.
It's a great play out of the timeout by Chauncey, by the way. A side pick and roll that was like the CJ was off the ball, caught it off the screen, and it functioned like a pick and roll.
Please have Nurk cutting in that fashion more. I just feel like he'd be so much better finishing. But, so like he had a stretch there where he was passing. He made several good passes on those possessions on consecutive plays. And so then it makes me lean even more like, man, just do what Dame does, like on nights. Like, you don't have to hunt your shot at all. Just kind of do that. But I do understand if you're a scorer and you have that mentality, you do have to sometimes take tough shots. And also, I mean, CJ's played one less year of than Dame has, but it's 8 years now. I mean, I guess you can cut out the first 2 years, but 7 years of CJ having to take those tough shots. Or you see like in a Game 7 Denver situation where we have nothing going, we're down 17, and CJ basically wins us the game with those kind of shots. So he kind of lives off that from the past. I just think if we're going to evolve and be the team we need to be, there will be times where we need him to do that when we don't have it going. But in a game like this where everyone's playing well and seemingly hitting shots, it's okay to not have to get yours in this game too. And but yeah, I have no problem with him taking some shots. It's just recognizing when, if you're going to go ISO and one-on-one and think you're going to break someone down off the dribble, if it's not there, you don't have to shoot it. And that's what drives me crazy. It's just the force shots. But other than that, yeah, I'm not going to get mad at him for doing that every once in a while, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, Dame does it too. Maybe not to the extent that CJ does, but it's just like CJ gets so much more hate for it. Mm-hmm. And that's what Ernesto made that comment. And yeah, I agree with that. I don't know why CJ gets so much more hate for it.
Yeah, because they took consecutive bad shots. Mm-hmm. Dame shot like a really long three. And then I think that was when we got up 6. And then they both took bad shots that led to breakouts on the other end. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but it was around that time. So yeah. Yeah, shot selection is going to be, as you get better shots, you don't have to take bad shots. So there's still going to be adjustment for both Dame and CJ that they don't need to do that. Dame isn't hitting them this year, but I felt like in the past, Dame just has a knack for when to shoot some of those deep threes, and when he makes them in some of those situations, and I think one of the times we were up 4 or something, so if he would have hit that, we would have been up 7, and the crowd would have just went crazy. So like he recognizes the moment, and I don't know. It's still a bad shot if you don't make it, but that's the problem. Dame's so confident he thinks he's going to make those,
and that's where you just live with a talented scorer being aggressive.
Right. Yeah. So I guess I agree with you for the most part.
Yeah. Before we move on from CJ, let me thank Andrew Miller's $5 dono. I forgot to read it off during the Rocco conversation. He says, would you guys run Rocco with Larry at the 4 and the 5? I was wondering, did we see that at all tonight? Did we see them play together at all?
No, I don't think we did, because...
well, it had to have been for a little bit, because Nance played 25 minutes and Rocco played, 24? So it would have had to have been at least 1 minute, but for the most part, I'm pretty sure they barely played.
Maybe in the first... No, because we put Zeller in the first quarter. Must have been... I don't remember when it was, but for the most part... Did Zeller play in the second half?
No.
Yeah, so Nance only played center in the second half. So, yeah, I don't remember... Oh, I guess Oh, yeah, that's what it was. Because Nurk got the fouls, and then at the beginning of the third quarter, so he had to come out. Nance comes in, so he played a little bit there with Rocco. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I would like to see that more, especially if Rocco starts figuring things out more defensively. Those guys at the 4 and 5 with like Nas at the 3 and Norm at the 2 defensively would be very intriguing. Would be very intriguing, and especially a team like running as well. But
this is why I've said several times this year, like, mix up the lineups. Like, you don't have to, it seemed like a lot of the games it was only Nurk and Rocco can play together, and only Nance and Zeller can play together, and then sometimes it would be no Zeller and just Nance, but like, I don't understand why it has to be like that. Mix them up a little bit. Let's see if any of them can unlock anything. And I kind of like Nance better with most of them anyway. So yeah, maybe mix in Nance at some 4 too, just to get some of them some playing time with Nurk a little bit, and then I have no problem with playing him and Rocco together. I just don't think that Nurk deserves to lose the starting spot at this point, so I wouldn't do it with the starting lineup.
Yeah, agreed. Thank you, Andrew Miller, for the $5 dono. Let's move on and talk about Nas. Nas got some crunch time minutes tonight, 24 minutes for him. Despite him going 1 for 7, he was in the finishing lineup down the stretch. He played really good defensively today, and you're seeing the evolution of Nasir Little into a good defensive player. Now, the three-point shooting I'm disappointed in. He had to heave one, and he had another one that I think was against the shot clock buzzer, but overall he is not shot as well this year as I was hoping. He has a lot of 1 for 4 games, and his jump shot looks fine to me, and his misses are pretty close. But going into this game, he was shooting 33% from 3. That's going to go down even more. But other than that, he got to the line 4 times. He's aggressive, is able to get to the free throw line at a solid rate, and then he's aggressive and a good defensive player and a slasher. He had a really nice drive and finish for his only field goal tonight. What were your thoughts on Nas?
Yeah, I thought only one of his threes was a good shot. And this is where, so he got the ball, 3-point line with a few seconds left, but why not cut in those situations and get a last-second lob instead of having to huck a 3-point shot? So I still want to see him cut more and be used more around the basket. He had a really nice drive in the fourth quarter finish. It was a really big play in the game. And then he also, on the other end, played really good defense for the most part. That defensive stand on DeRozan at the end of the game was one of the biggest plays in the game as well, where DeRozan falls over and stands back up and somehow not a travel, but that's beside the point. Nas got in his face and made him airball. And DeRozan made a few shots on him in the first half, but I still thought it was pretty good defense. But yeah.
He clamped him up that last possession, man. That was phenomenal. To be able to have a guy to be able to put him on DeRozan with the game on the line and have him have a defensive stop like that. I mean, DeRozan fell because Nas defended him so well. That's what we need out of Nas. So hopefully the 3-point shot making will come around, but overall his energy, his defensive ability, his slashing, he's a slashing threat. And then he's not a horrible shooter where you can just leave him open and he's not going to knock down a high enough percentage, in my opinion. He's had to force some tough looks, but overall I think he'll kind of average out around 34-35%, which is good enough for a guy that does what he does. I'm happy with this. He's one of those guys that he might have a rough shooting night, but can still have a positive production because of his energy and defensive ability.
Mm-hmm. So, I forgot who it was in chat. I think it might have been David or somebody mentioned how this will pay dividends later, and that's another thing I've said a lot of, and that we missed opportunities to do the last 2 seasons when you're struggling to be a 500 team and you don't even play or try to develop some of your young guys. It's really frustrating because maybe Nas could have played some defense on someone and guarded, you get one more stop in a close game, like Dame scores 55 and we lose in double overtime, and you get someone who can just get a stop or two, and that can make the difference in a playoff series. We should have been developing more, but this is absolutely going to pay dividends down the road if he becomes a consistently someone you can have confidence in being in the game, especially the last 2 games, playing the entire fourth quarters, and us actually doing well in those periods and not suffering because we have someone who's barely played in the lineup.
Yep, agreed. Let's move on and talk about Anthony. Didn't mean to click off that. There you go. Anthony Simons, 6 points, 2 assists, 1 rebound, 1 for 3 from the field. He got to the line 5 times. You like to see that. Missed his only 3. He airballed it. I'm still kind of waiting for the early season Anthony to come back. He was antomatic to start the season. Kind of struggled slightly with his shot lately, but he's not necessarily getting the best looks. Had a nice drive and left-handed finish. That was a tough layup. Had a steal. 18 minutes. It was hard to notice him out there. What were your thoughts on Anthony?
Yeah, just I don't know why. Well, I mean, I know why, but like, I don't know. I don't think he's doing enough to get his minutes cut right now. I hope he doesn't get discouraged by that. Hopefully, he's still ready. But I think a little bit of it is after now. This is the second season of him. Like he shot over 40% last year from three, and now he's starts off the year hot. I think teams recognize that they can't leave him open, so he's not getting as clean a looks. But that's again why I want to utilize cutting and off-ball screens to run some plays to get some guys some looks. So hopefully that can improve in the future. But hopefully he doesn't get I don't know what the right word is, but I hope he doesn't lose engagement.
Hopefully he doesn't get discouraged.
Discouraged. Yeah, that's a good word. Good way to put it. Hopefully he keeps his head up and recognizes that it's just been other guys have been getting it done right now, but there will be plenty of times throughout the year where we need Anthony, and hopefully he just keeps continuing to develop.
Yep, I agree with that. Let's talk about Cody Zeller, who only played 4 minutes tonight. 4 for 4 from the free throw line. His per 36 minute stats the last few games are insane because it's like he'll play 7 minutes and have 6 points, and he'll play 4 minutes and have 4 points. Cody in and out Zeller. I mean, I thought he was solid in his shift. I don't know, man. I mean, he only played 4 minutes. It's just lately he's kind of been the odd man out, and that's because Larry Nance Jr. is playing well as the 5-man, and it's just a situation where it's like, it's not because he's a bad player, it's because we have good players off the bench. We have a lot of depth, so he'll be needed at some point this season, most likely. Even if we're healthy, he'll be needed. If we end up having some guys miss some time, he'll probably end up with some 15-20 minute games where we need his production. Just right now, it's he's I don't know, he'll play like 4 minutes. Like usually he'll be like one of the first subs in, play a few minutes, and then barely play the rest of the game. And it's just kind of interesting to see that.
Yeah, for sure.
I feel like maybe he'll play better without the mask, though, too. Because he's struggled more defensively than he ever has. And he's wearing that mask. So maybe once we unmask him, he might be a little bit better. Because that thing... I mean, not everybody is Robert Covington, let's just say that.
Yeah, true.
Or Rip Hamilton. Where they like the mask for whatever reason. I played one of those things. I was certainly much, much worse, but also I didn't get it fitted. It was just it was a one-size-fits-all, and like people don't realize, like, for the one I wore, it was like in my vision, like on both sides, and your peripheral vision is like messed up. So the fitted masks, you have a little bit more vision, but it might be affecting them. I don't know. You have no thoughts on him? Is he Tony Snell today?
Yeah, I don't know if I'd have no thoughts. There's just nothing worthy of spending too much time on him when we've spent a lot on other people, but he's been fine. I still think he needs to play a little better defensively, but other than that, I don't mind him in his minutes so far.
Yep. Last guy. Tony Snell made a 3 today. Tony, I hit a 3 Snell. 3 points, 2 boards. 10 minutes, had a turnover, which was... that was the worst pass of the game. That turnover was funny. I don't know what happened on that turnover, but it knocked down a 3. I still wouldn't be playing him. Like, I'd rather give Anthony 28 minutes. You know, like, I know we'd be a little bit smaller, but I don't know. He's not bad. He's just
Yeah. He had a big 3. That's
big 3. Nice to see him make a shot because he was Mr. 57%er coming into Portland. He shot 57% last year, albeit on a small sample size. It's not like he shot, 8 threes a game and played every game. But this year he was shooting only 36% from 3 heading into this game. Eric, for a guy who's a career 40%er, you want to see that be a little higher.
Small sample size, and he's coming back from an injury.
Oh yeah, small sample size, but we're expecting 57%, not 37%. So
okay,
yeah, the 57% was a bigger sample size. So Yeah, I expect him to be a 50% or otherwise he shouldn't play. I'm trolling you. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Laugh at my jokes, man. They're funny. Anyway, it's Tony Snell. I don't know. We throw him up here so you guys can see the stats, but it's Tony freaking Snell. So
let's move on.
Let's move on. Well put. Let's go around the NBA. All right, I'll go quick with this. We had 11 games today, lots of action. It's my first time looking at a majority of these scores. Did you watch any games today, Eric?
I watched some of the Milwaukee Los Angeles Lakers game.
Yeah, so did I when I was getting my haircut.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So it's good old sports clips. But the first game is Westbrook's old team, not his new team. Washington loses. They were number 1 in the East, but they lose to Charlotte 97-87. Charlotte was led by Miles Bridges, 17 points. Terry Rozier had 19. Kelly Oubre, 14. They had 6 guys in double figures. Jalen McDaniels, 11 points in 17 minutes. LaMelo Ball, 4 for 18 shooting. He was hot to start the season shooting-wise. His shooting has kind of fallen off a cliff, and it's going to be interesting to see what his shooting numbers look like because he's definitely getting more shot opportunities this year than he did last year. For Washington, 24 from Beal, 20 from Daniel Gafford in 24 minutes, 15 from Montrezl Harrell off the bench, but not much production anywhere else on that team, which makes sense. They aren't necessarily the deepest. I don't know. They're a weird team, man. They're a weird team because they're missing. No, Beal played today. I'm tripping. I don't know what I'm saying about the Wizards. I still don't know what to say about the Wizards. I don't know if they're a fluke or if they're real. So
weird team, yeah.
Very weird team. They're not 10-4. Charlotte's 9-7. Detroit holds Indiana to 89. Man, this is not last year's NBA. First 2 games include teams under 100 in points. I mean, every game in this graphic has a team under 100. That's insane. But Detroit gets an upset victory against the Pacers. Cade Cunningham, 16 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists on 6 for 18 shooting. Corey Joseph had 18 off the bench on 11 shots. So that's kind of the wild card there. But great defense from Detroit. The Pacers had Sabonis, Turner, Malcolm Brogdon, Karis LeVert, but they were without Chris Duarte. Miles Turner only 6 points in 31 minutes. I know a bunch of people were clamoring for him after he has a big game, but he's had a lot of duds this year as well. You never know what you're going to get with him. Domantas Sabonis, 15, Karis LeVert, 18. Indiana, are they on the outside looking in the play-in, or do you think they make the play-in? I love asking you the hard questions.
I think at this point they're going to have a tough time even getting the play-in, but they should be in that 10-11 range. But they should be close. But I just don't get why they're as bad as they've been.
They need to trade. They need to trade Sabonis or Turner. I don't like Sabonis at the 4. I think that's the resolution there.
I guess a little bit is they do need T.J. Warren scoring back, but that's something they haven't had for the second season. Missing him now, but yeah, I mean they've needed to trade one of those two for a long time, and they haven't done it.
Yeah, agreed. Atlanta 110, Boston 99. Atlanta's getting back on track. They've won 3 in a row. After starting the season at 4-9, they're now 7-9. They got a pretty well-rounded effort. John Collins with 20, Reddish with 19, Herter with 19, Trae Young with 18 points, 11 assists in the win. For Boston, they had 34 from Jason Tatum, but are still without Jaylen Brown. Schroeder has 15. Grant Williams had 18 points on 6 for 12 shooting, so a good game from him. Josh Richardson, 11 off the bench. Boston is just one of those teams that's weird because I feel like they've been switching up their lineup like crazy this season. Maybe I'm wrong, but it's like Pritchard was in the rotation of the start of the season. Now he's out. Then it will be Romeo Langford. Then you'll see some Aaron Nesmith for a game. Even a splash of Juan Hernan Gomez. Boston's a team searching for their identity, searching for something under their new coach, Ime Udoka. They lose tonight to the Hawks, falling to 7-8.
Definitive One is asking what team Victor Oladipo plays for. He's on the Miami Heat, but he hasn't played at all this year.
Yeah, sadly, it sucks because injuries have kind of been the downfall of his career. You know, he was an all-star player a couple seasons ago, but now Still hasn't suited up yet this season for the Miami Heat. That game is up next, but before then, Brooklyn beats the Cavs. The Cavs tonight started Ed Davis. We got an Ed Davis signing. I forgot he was still in the league, man. Cavs have like some obscure players that I like. You got Kevin Pangos, and you got Taco Fall, and you got Ed Davis. Ed Davis, 24 minutes, 3 for 6 from the field, 6 points, 11 boards. That sounds like a typical Ed Davis stat line. They end up losing. They're without Sexton, too, without Kevin Love, without Evan Mobley now, without Jared Allen. So it sucks for Cleveland because they started the season hot. We're 9-5. And now the injury bug is biting them. So all that momentum. Oh, they had Kevin Love today. I'm wrong on that. But we're missing their starting front court. Marketing, Allen, Mobley, Sexton. That's 4 starters right there out for them. So It sucks, man, because they had momentum to start the season. And they lost it not because of their own doing, just because of the injury bug.
Mm-hmm.
But Blazer fans, we know how that is.
Yeah.
For the Nets, they moved to 11-5, 27 from Harden, 23 from KD, 21 from Patty Mills, 24 from LaMarcus Aldridge. It's a big 4 for them tonight. Only 3 other players scored. Bruce Brown had 8. So it was those 4. You know, it's I guess it's still a big 3 without Kyrie because Patty Mills and Aldridge combined to like one member of a big 3. They've been playing really good this season. The former Blazers, man.
Blazers.
Maybe. Heat beat Pelicans 113-98. Pelicans suck. Heat have been injury prone as well, especially as of late. But Jimmy Butler has a triple-double for them. Brandon Ingram's back. Zion Williamson's coming back in 1 to 2 weeks. The Magic upset the Knicks. The Knicks are kind of hard to figure out. Was last year an overachievement? They've been playing around 500, and that's a bad loss today. Jalen Suggs, 13 points, 4 assists. My guy, 3 for 4 from 3. Eric. He made some threes. Let's go.
Finally.
Hell yeah. The other rookie, 16 and 9 boards for Franz Wagner. So some young guys playing well for them. Terrence Ross, the good old reliable vet, 6 for 15 off the bench to lead them with 19 points. He still gets his shots up despite coming off the bench. For the Knicks, Kemba Walker had a rough game, 5 points. Evan Fournier had a rough game, 5 points. Those are 2 guys that if they're not scoring, they're not going to help you all that much. Obi Toppin has had some good games off the bench this year, 14 points, 18 minutes. It's good to see him do well. Moving on, you got the Timberwolves beating the Kings. So the Timberwolves trying to get back on track. After starting the season hot, they have now struggled, but they get the win tonight. Anthony Edwards has 16 in the fourth quarter, 26 points total for the Timberwolves, who are now 5-9. Sacramento right there at 6-9. The Thunder beat the Rockets in a battle of bottom feeders. Although the Thunder are 6-8, they haven't been as much of a bottom feeder as thought. Houston is definitely a bottom feeder. 1-14 for them. Have you seen this box score, Eric?
Not of that name, no.
Lou Dort, 34 points. So
nice.
good for Lou Dort, man. 14 for 22 from the field. 4 for 11 from 3. That's the surprise performance of the night. SGA 6 for 18, 15 points. So Lou Dort is outshining SGA offensively. That's something, I guess. Josh Giddey 7 for 14, 14 points, 11 rebounds, 2 assists. He's looked better than I thought he would look as a rookie. OKC gets the win. Phoenix beats Dallas. Dallas didn't have Luka. That game, I mean, Phoenix should have probably won by more. Phoenix was led by 24 from Booker, 19 from DeAndre Ayton, Chris Paul, quiet game, 2 for 12, shooting 7 points, but 14 assists for him. For the Mavs, 22 from Tim Hardaway Jr. They're just not a good team without Luka Doncic. The Blazers beat the Bulls. You love to see it. And then the final game on this graphic, you got
another thing you'd love to see.
Yeah. It was funny because they had a college football replay on at Sports Clips, and the lady working there was like, I think I've seen this game earlier today. I'm going to change it. And she was going through the catalog, and there was a Lakers game on. And she's like, do you want to watch this one? Do you like the Lakers? I'm like, I like rooting against the Lakers. So she's like, okay, cool, put it on. There was a play in this game, Eric. Please tell me you saw the Westbrook play.
Oh, yeah. The play that encapsulated all that's Russell Westbrook.
If you guys haven't seen the play I'm talking about, just go and find it on Twitter. He lost his dribble in the post, stood bent over the ball, like trying to like pop it off the ground so he could dribble it again, and couldn't, and tried like 7 or 8 times, and then finally said screw it, picked it up and shot a turnaround fadeaway that barely hit the front of the rim.
Oh, that was bad.
That's a Shackton. We've had some good Shackton at full plays early this season. I feel like lots of comical stuff to start the year. That's one of them. For the Bucks, 47 points from Giannis on 23 shots, 18 for 23 shooting. He was 3 for 4 from 3, 8 for 11 from the free throw line. He's learned how to shoot. This season, after this game, he's shooting. Oh, I thought he was shooting better. He's only shooting 28% from 3. Never mind. That's just variance. But 47 from him, great game. Chris Middleton's back. He had 16. Bobby Portis had 17, still starting for Brook Lopez. Former Blazer legend Pat Connaughton, 16 points. 5 for 10 shooting, 4 for 8 from 3. He's shooting the 3-ball really well this year. He has been phenomenal for them. For the Lakers, Taylor Horton-Tucker is back. He had 25 points, 12 boards. Russell Westbrook, 7 for 16. 2 for 5 from 3, that's still 40%. He had 15 assists as well, so he had a better game than that play would suggest, but that was a very Westbrookian play. And then 18 for AD, pretty quiet game by his standards. 10 for Carmelo on 4 for 10 from the field. That rounds up off the games. Here are some notable performances. Lou Dort did not have 42 assists. He had 4 assists. That would have been the best game in NBA history if he had 42 assists. That means he would have been responsible for at least 120 points. But Giannis, good game. Jimmy Butler, triple-dub. Lou Dort is definitely the surprise player there. And
that would have been the greatest fantasy performance of all time.
Oh, I know. He's the surprise performer, and that's the surprise stat of the day. 42 assists for Lou. How do you say his full name? Luguentz?
I think it's Luguentz, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm asking you, no offense. But I don't know how to say his name. Lou... doesn't he spell it L-O-U?
I think, Gentz or something like that.
Yeah. But anyway, enough Lou Dort talk for this postgame show. Here are the standings. Eric, we're in the top 8. You'd love to see it. We're at 500.
Back up there.
Above the Lakers on this graphic. Good job, Chris. I'd have been mad if we were tied with the Lakers and he put the Lakers above it. So, good job there. Portland 8-8. 4 teams tied at 9-5.
2 games out of third.
Yeah, 2 games out of that 4-team tie. You got.
Eric, are you ready to admit that this team will never? Your guarantee is stupid, and you should just admit right now that it's never going to happen.
I bet you we've had a harder schedule than those top 4 teams, and have an easier rest of the season schedule too.
There's no question.
Yeah, shout out Apple's $3 dono. He says, Dort with 42 assists, better playmaker than LeBron. Agreed, Apples. Appreciate the $3 dono. You got Memphis tied with us as well. I think those bottom 6 teams are going to be the bottom 6 teams. I don't think there's any doubt about that. It's going to be interesting, though, Eric, who gets that last play-in spot.
Yeah.
Because, Sacramento hasn't made the playoffs in who knows how long, and they could have a chance to play their way in, or it might be OKC, which would be a huge surprise, or Minnesota, who's kind of people's favorite to be kind of the 10th seed. Reese had them in the playoffs, in the top 8. They've kind of struggled. It's going to be interesting to see who wins that 10th and final playing spot, because I think that will be the bottom 6 teams.
Yep, I agree, and that's always that'll be fun to see who gets that, and hopefully we are in the top 6. We don't have to worry about any of that stuff either.
We'll be in the top 6. We'll be in the top 4.
Oh yeah, I've never wavered. I had always why I just commented a minute ago. But the way I did is I had a bunch of clowns every time we lose a game coming at me see, he's wrong. He won't admit he's wrong. He's this guy. This guy says he'll hold himself accountable and admit it, but where is he at right now? It's dude, we played 10 games. Shut the F up.
Yeah.
So freaking annoying. I'm still confident we'll be fine.
You gotta love when people think they have gotcha tweets and they're just horrible.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's a minute after the game, they've just praying we lose so they can tweet at me, get all up in my mentions. So pathetic.
Yep. Yep, hopefully they enjoyed the game tonight. I'm not sure they did. But that is the Western Conference standings. Eastern Conference, Washington's still number one, actually. They're tied with Brooklyn, have a higher winning percentage at 10-4 compared to Brooklyn's 11-5. Chicago with the loss today. They would have been the number one team in the East had they won, but they lose, fall to 10-5. They are half a game back, along with Miami, Charlotte, Cleveland, New York, Philadelphia. Things are pretty bunched up all the way down through 12 teams within 4 games.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the Eastern Conference standings.
Yep. Now that Milwaukee and Atlanta are starting to get back on track, it'll be very fun to see how that plays out.
Yeah, agreed with that. Here are the next 5 games, Eric. We said we needed to go at least 3-1 on this homestand, right? We're 2-0. So at least split the next 2. We have 2 days off, then Philadelphia, then 2 days off. So enjoy a little break, guys, from the Blazer basketball. After that, you got a 3-game road trip with Sacramento, Golden State, and Utah. I'm hoping for 3-2. With how bad we've been on the road, I'm hoping for 3-2 with the rest of this schedule. That would put us at 11-10. And then for the last game of the month, they got Detroit. So you beat them. That put them at 12-10, which I said, if the Blazers are playing at a 50-win pace, accounting for strength of schedule, I said this in my schedule breakdown video, they should be 12-10 after the first 22 games. And right now, they got a chance to do that. Just got to go 4-2 over this next stretch, 6-game stretch. You got Philadelphia. We'll preview that tomorrow on Blazers Uprise Live.
Yep, 6 games tomorrow for picks against the spread. And one of those games is our next 2 opponents, the 76ers at the Denver Nuggets. So that game's on NBA TV if you want to see how those teams are playing. I believe Embiid, that's his 10th day of being out, so it'll be interesting to see if he is available on Saturday or not, because he was required to sit out 10 days. I'm not sure if he's ready to come back or not, or if he'll be out for their road trip or not. But yeah, so that'll be an interesting game to watch if you're interested in scouting our next opponent.
I would love to see Embiid play against Jokic. It's the best 2 centers in the game. In my opinion. So that would be a good matchup. All right. So that does it for around the NBA. Any other thoughts specifically on this game, Eric?
Nope, just a really fun game and really fun win. Yeah, I mean, this was one of the games where most people didn't expect us to win, so we got that one back to 8-8. I feel like we're in a really good position, but don't get complacent. Don't come out. The less games we come out struggling at the beginning like we have in seemingly every game recently, the better off we'll be. So try to find a way to bring some aggression early in games. And, this is, I think, at some point, I think Billups will stabilize his team. That's another thing that I wanted to mention about what Quick said. Is he says he's more confident in Billups' ability to get the most out of this roster than he's ever been with a coach in his whole time being a beat reporter or whatever he is now, media member. So I think that says a lot when a guy like that says such high praise about someone like that. And Tori and I are really high on his abilities as well. Just a matter of hopefully, as he learns, consistently seeing it. So, yep.
Agreed with that. So we'll be live tomorrow on Blazers Uprise Live. That's our second channel, link in the description box below. Also follow us on Twitter. Links are also down there. Speaking of Twitter, we'll end things off with tweets of the game. Only 2 tweets, but I thought this photo was interesting. You got Larry Nance Jr. throwing a lob to, I don't know who SpongeBob would be. Who would be the SpongeBob on our team, Eric?
I don't know. Nas, maybe right now.
No, I was thinking Simons. Simons just seems like a SpongeBob guy to me. I don't know. In a good way, I could see how that could be taken as an insult, but I don't know. That edit was interesting. Evan attached that as, I think, an ode to Larry Nance Jr. He says the Blazers complete the 20-point comeback versus the Bulls. Let's go in all caps, and the whole second half, my Twitter was pretty much locked on all caps. You know it's a hype game when we start breaking out the all caps. So Evan was on the same wave there. And then you also got good old Zach Landy. He says, would have loved to play a full game, but winning games like this is always a wild ride. That was the wildest game of the year, the best, most entertaining game of the year, in my opinion. Appreciate you for using the hashtag Blazers Uprise, because not enough people are doing it. If you want your tweets included here, use hashtag Blazers Uprise during the next game on the 20th against Philadelphia. I would love to have a bunch of tweets to pick from so we can pick the most clever ones, because I know you guys got some clever tweets. After the game, I look for that hashtag, and I'm like, oh, there's some clever stuff. I don't know where it was, though, so I can't go find it. So use hashtag Blazers Uprise on your good tweets, and they might end up here, and you get a free shout-out and a free Twitter shout-out. Maybe people will follow you. I don't know. It's good. Use it. Anyway, that wraps things up. Eric, anything else?
Thank you, everyone, for watching. Appreciate all of you, and I hope you have a good night. Shout out to David Lester. He did this after the game, but he did use hashtag Blazers Uprise. If he's watching, it says Blazers centers led the Blazers to the victory, which I completely agree with. Nance and Nurk were fantastic tonight, and just a really awesome game. And I hope we continue this momentum on Saturday.
Yep, their combined stat line, they had 34 points. They had 21 boards, 4 assists, 4 steals on a combined 14 for 22 shooting from the field. So, yeah, they both had great games today. You love to see it. That's going to wrap it up for a fun episode of the Blazers Uprise post-game show. Thank you to everybody. Go ahead, Eric.
Good night, Corey.
Good night, Corey. What? Why?
I had to call out my guy Nick Samarikoff, who said good night, Eric and Corey in chat.
I thought there was a Corey in chat saying good night, so I was just gonna piggyback off of it. Who's Corey? People don't. I need to put up a name tag, man, because I bet you there are probably a couple people that think my name is Corey if they never follow me on Twitter, and I see people spell my name wrong all the time, man. And it sucks. Torey. That's the name.
Right above the stat thing, next to the right of the Blazer logo for me, and the left of the Bulls logo to you. You can just have.
Ooh, that would actually look kind of clean. I'll try that actually. I'll try that.
Corey from Tiger.
We gonna go there? If he asks me on the radio again, man. Hey, what's up, Chad? Tori from Tiger here. You donkey. Whatever insult he has some creative insult. I'll give him that, man. Chad, me and Chad are good now. Obviously, the dude is a flavorful on Twitter, entertaining to follow. But he was one of the guys criticizing Nurkic. I was like, man, Chad, come on, you're better than this, right? You would think. I don't know, but hopefully Nurkic has more games like this and people finally wake up and open their eyes, because he was great tonight. But yeah, I'll take the good night, Corey. I will catch you later. Catch you tomorrow on Blazers Uprise Live. Hopefully I'll be able to turn Monday into some momentum in picks against the spread. That'll be fun. And we'll preview the Philadelphia 76ers matchup. And, it's our only stream for the next 2 days, so hopefully we're able to catch you then. Whenever we catch you next, hope life is good, and hope you have a good rest
Thanks
of your
for all
night.
the donations tonight, too. You guys killed it.
Yeah. Thank you to everybody who donated as well. With that, we're out of here. Hope you have a good rest of your night. Until next time, as always, peace out. Go Blazers!